and that Chase Allen attempted to withdraw a loaded gun and got it out of his holster that he was carrying with him at the time on his side. I'm looking forward to the conversation with legal analyst Greg Skordas, and maybe he can help us understand what's taken so long for the county attorney to get this letter to the media and let the public know that he's cleared the officers. Because the letter is dated July 28th. It's been 7 weeks since he issued that letter. And let's remember that traffic stop and that shooting happened way back in March.
So here's the deal, man. I'm stopping you because there's no registration on your vehicle, and I'm requesting your identification. Okay? You are detained at this time, and you are not free to leave. Are you going to provide me your identification?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so I'm going to...
You could see being very confrontational, was refusing to comply with the officer, said he didn't need to, didn't have to. But I think the explanation from the Davis County attorney laid it out very, very clearly, Debbie, as you'd already mentioned. The law does not require a person to get shot or even shot at before returning fire.
Launch countdown 1.
Well, day 14 proves to be the end of the vanishing acts for that escaped prisoner in Pennsylvania. Remember, he scaled the prison walls, he outsmarted the law, slipped past police perimeters, regularly changed outfits like he's some sort of onstage pop star. I mean, he was in a different outfit today than he was yesterday and the day before, but he could not outrun the heat-sensing technology that narrowed in on him and the attack of a well-trained police dog. He has been captured.
Today is a great day here in Chester County. Our nightmare is finally over and the good guys won.
And this was 14 days on the run, and it took 25 officers, including the police canine, to finally capture Danilo Cavalcante.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
He killed his girlfriend in front of her children, and he did that by stabbing her almost 40 times. This was a very dangerous man. And I think it was just within days of being sent to prison, he used some sort of canyoneering, like something that you use if you're in the backcountry scaling walls technique to climb up and out of the prison.
Yeah, and he's very unique in this sense. He's 5 feet tall, and he's 120 pounds. He has had an ability to evade and hide in an incredible way. Obviously, there are several places where he probably could have been and should have been caught, but he was able to outsmart, outwit, and survive, at least for the last 14 days on the run.
I was listening this morning on my drive-in when Tim and Amanda broke the news that the escaped prisoner, after 14 days on the lam, had been captured. And they dipped into CNN's live coverage. And as the chopper video, the news chopper video was, capturing video of this man being walked by, draped with several police officers, walked to like an armored vehicle. Here's what the CNN anchors noticed.
They're cutting off his shirt right now. Why would they be cutting off his shirt?
Could be for purposes of identification, meaning...
take the tattoo on his back.
He's known to have, specific tattoos, and they want to be able to confirm that they have not just a guy wandering in the woods, but the guy.
Dave, you and I watched that video. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. They had him loaded in the back of a truck, and they pulled out some scissors, and they started cutting off his clothes. And sure, in part, it was identification, but there's more to that as well. You want to make sure you have the right person, first and foremost, and he has tattoos and identifying markings. But also, you want to make sure they're not holding weapons.
Yeah.
These quick body inspections are crucial because he's obviously dangerous, and as reason why you got 25 SWAT officers surrounding him.
In fact, we'll speak to a retired FBI SWAT officer and agent in just a matter of moments. But before we do, I want to bring our listeners up to speed on the latest details from the lieutenant colonel who was speaking just moments ago at a news conference.
Shortly after 8 a.m., tactical teams converged on the area where the heat source was. They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise. Cavalcante did not realize he was surrounded until that had occurred. That did not stop him from trying to escape. He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went. One of the Customs and Border Control teams, BORTAC, had a dog with them. They released the dog. Some of our PSP CERT members were also there, had him surrounded. The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in. He continued to resist, but was forcibly taken into custody. No one was injured.
When we come back, we'll talk to a retired FBI supervisor who had been involved in manhunts during his career. He'll walk us through the specifics and the details that he was looking for when he was on a manhunt.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
It's about to get real for the BYU Cougars.
Get to the end zone, touchdown!
This Saturday, the Cougs take on Arkansas from the powerhouse SEC Conference. Our special extended pregame coverage starts at noon with kickoff at 5:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
If you own or operate a business, whether it's a local operation or a global corporation, partnering with Bank of America could be your smartest move. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll enjoy exclusive digital tools, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Position your business to capitalize on opportunity in a moment's notice. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Ever feel like your insurance company doesn't know you?
Insurance Corporation will issue generic plans where agricultural activities occur.
Only a human can visit your farm or ranch to know what you need.
Find out why Farm Bureau Financial Services has been the #1 ag insurer for 25 years. It's your future. Let's protect it. Talk to an agent today or visit fbfs.com/protect. #1 ag insurer across our territory. 1996 to 2021 SNL P&C Group Direct Written Premium.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
You know, for the last couple of weeks, I just kind of keep chuckling when I think about my SOTA weight loss journey. SOTA's SOTA, state-of-the-art weight loss, because it is. And the reason I've been chuckling is because often when you hear about a program, you start thinking, you know, does it work? Does it work? I can honestly say no one's ever asked me if SOTA weight loss works. Why? Because the results don't lie. I've lost 37 pounds. People can see it. They see the energy. They see what I'm able to do. And they don't want to know, does it work? They want to know, how does it work? And it works because you have your own nutritionist. You have one-on-one consultations. You get to the root cause. It's a really all points of the compass approach to emotional eating, your habits, getting the right nutrition to your body at the right time. And it's all so simple. And it works. The results don't lie. So you don't have to ask, does SOTA work? It works. The results don't lie. I'll tell you how it works. It works because it's an extraordinary group and it's impacting people all around the country. As I always say, when it comes to your SOTA weight loss journey, no time to lose, only time to win. I've been doing this for over 20 months now. Start winning with SOTA weight loss, SOTAweightloss.com.
Fall in love with the Five O's restaurant this autumn season, a Salt Lake City original, featuring a cozy atmosphere, perfect for all your special occasions.
If you were in the market to sell your home, wouldn't you want to be with Utah's #1 team? That would be the Stern Team. They've been rated #1 by Real Trends for 2022.
I was on the Stern Team's website just the other day. It's sternteam.com, STERN team.com. And I'm a homeowner. Many of you are. You just click on sell and you go to home evaluation. And in less than 30 seconds, you'll find out what the value of your home is. I did, and it was thrilling.
And of course, if you want to get your home out there in front of as many buyers as possible, listen to this. The Stern Team now has over 100 active buyer clients who are looking for a home right now.
And they have all the options you want. Like they have an instant cash offer if that's what you're looking for, or a buy before you sell program. They even have flexible fees customized to your needs.
The average Salt Lake City agent sells 8 homes a year. The Stern Team helps over 400 families reach real estate goals every year.
The Stern Team helps by creating more demand, resulting in more multiple offer situations that will get you more money.
Go to sternteam.com or Google the Stern Team.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, Pennsylvania State Police say they located and captured an escaped murderer this morning who had been on the run for 2 weeks. A police dog helped the officers subdue the suspect. Second, prosecutors have cleared 5 Farmington police officers who shot and killed a man during a traffic stop earlier this year. And third, a Wallet Hub annual survey looking at health and work environments named Utah the happiest state in the nation. Right now, it's 68 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Day 14 is the end of the vanishing act for the escaped prisoner in Pennsylvania. Now, this guy had scaled prison walls, outsmarted the law for 13 and a half days. He slipped past those police perimeters, kind of regularly changed outfits. He could not outrun heat sensing technology that sensed there was a warm body in the area or a well-trained police dog.
I'll never forget the way he escaped, because we had this on video and you could see it. There were 2 walls, and this man is only 5 feet tall. So what he did is he basically put his feet on one wall, his hands completely and totally outstretched on the other wall, and in a planking position, scaled up the wall in a way I've never seen before. I know there's a canyoneering technique involved here. I've never seen it. The amount of strength it must have taken to be able to make this move is incredible. Maybe in part because he's 5 feet tall and 120 pounds, right? This is not me trying to do that where I would land flat on my face.
When they found him, he was trying to low crawl through the underbrush with a rifle. It could be that rifle that he stole from a homeowner's garage. Remember, we reported yesterday with the help of News Nation. It was live on the scene while the search was happening. When they called the show, it was like the reporter, Evan Lambert, was talking about how the guy had dipped into somebody's garage, managed to steal a rifle and several rounds as well. But the homeowner also managed to get off a few rounds from his handgun, but apparently missed. And as news helicopters were hovering overhead, as authorities flanked in camouflage, walked him to an armored vehicle. This is what CNN anchors noticed.
They're cutting off his shirt right now. Why would they be cutting off his shirt?
Could be for purposes of identification, meaning...
that tattoo on his back.
He's known to have, specific tattoos, and they want to be able to confirm that they have not just a guy wandering in the woods, but the guy.
Carl Schmay joins us right now, retired FBI supervisor. You've been involved in manhunts during your career. Debbie and I both, as we were watching this video, watching them cut off his shirt. They cut off his shirt. They cut off his pants. They didn't cut off his underwear, but they'd cut off all these clothes. Can you explain to us, Carl, what the thinking is behind that?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Sure. There's several reasons why police would do that. So one of the reasons they're going to check him is he's just been attacked by a police dog, and he's also been shot at. So cutting off clothes is a standard procedure because you want to check for wounds. If you've ever been to even just to a car accident scene, you'll see medics. They always carry shears because they're typically cutting off clothes. So you just want to be able to examine the whole body to make sure that there's not some wound that wasn't visible, with the clothes on. So that's number one. The other thing is obviously checking for tattoos. You want to confirm you've got the right guy. And then, Dave, I think as you mentioned earlier, officers want to make sure that there's no weapons or any other items like maybe like a handcuff key that he might have secreted somewhere that he could use to try to escape again.
Carl Schmay, retired FBI supervisor, also was on the SWAT team for the FBI. And Carl, we're watching video right now on Fox News. Of course, all the networks are covering this live. But we're watching that video of Cavalcante scaling, like putting his feet on one wall, his hands on the other wall, and as Dave described, plank crawling his way up out of the prison. This man, for 14 days, I mean, he was a vanishing act for law enforcement.
Sure. Yeah, so this guy was definitely committed to escaping. So that technique that you guys have described is actually called stemming, and it's actually commonly used here in Utah for canyoneering for slot canyons. And I've actually done it myself, same movement, my teenage son and I, when we did some canyoneering. And, I mean, it looks hard, but I was surprised that it was not as hard as it looks. You're basically just using friction. If you've ever watched a show like American Ninja Warrior, you'll see people do a variation of this where they're climbing inside a chute and they have their legs spread out. And then once again, they're using friction to crawl inside the chute. And this was just a variation that he did where he had his whole body spread out. And it worked for him. He clearly was committed to getting out of that jail because he knew that that was his chance. Because from here, he had a life sentence going to a state prison, which would have been much, much more difficult to escape from.
He's a slight build. He's 5 feet, 120 pounds. Is that advantageous?
Yeah, I mean, so there's several factors when you're looking for a fugitive, and when you're looking at someone, obviously he's small. It's going to make it easier for him to hide. I think the other thing, Dave, that's really crucial is that it's been reported that when he was in Brazil, he worked on ranches. So he's very comfortable being out in the countryside, being out in the woods. And clearly he demonstrated that. He was smart. He was keeping in the woods where it's really thick brush. I've been on manhunts, Dave, where you almost have to step on somebody before you can see them. I remember a few years ago, Deb, I can't remember if you were still in the FBI as a media person, but we had that shooting near the University of Utah. There was a grad student that was killed right next to Red Butte Gardens.
I had just come back to KSL TV, but I do remember it because I actually covered that as a news story.
Okay, so that got reported initially as an active shooter because the grad student in the car got killed, shot and killed. The girlfriend ran off, escaped, alerted police. So we had, multiple SWAT teams, including the FBI SWAT team, converging there. And the FBI SWAT team was the only one that had night vision goggles, which is typical. You don't typically see that with the local teams. And so we got put our search area was basically Red Butte Garden, which at night, with all those bushes, really hard to find stuff. And then we also got there was a campsite where this couple of murderers had been hiding up in the foothills there, and we had to search that area. And I'll tell you what, I mean, with all that thick brush, all the scrub oak, really, really hard to see.
Can you speak to the stress of that as you're on these searches, because it literally could be anywhere?
Literally could be anywhere. Yeah, I've been on several of these, Dave, and they're very stressful, and particularly when the person's armed. I was also in the search down in Moab when we had the guy that shot at the Utah Park Ranger, shot him several times, and then fled into the backcountry. And so once again, multiple SWAT teams out there, including ours. And, we knew that guy had a gun. And we're, if you've been down to Moab, that terrain. It's very rugged, rocks everywhere. You're kind of sticking your head under these nooks and crannies. And I mean, that's pretty frightening to know that there could be a guy with a gun hiding in one of those spots.
Do you think that, for example, the prisoner in Pennsylvania that they just captured, Carl, did you see this when you were on manhunt? Did they just run out of energy?
Yeah, so time is always on the police side. I mean, this guy was smart. He was moving at night. He was just stealing kind of what he needed. and he was trying to stay out of sight as much as possible. But he's not sleeping well. The police kept pressure on him. They were investigating every lead. And, he's going to get tired. He had limited supplies. It sounds like he was stealing a little bit of food here and there. But that's a lot of stress. And so ultimately he was going to make a mistake. And it sounds like the break here was that there was a burglar alarm that went off. And that was kind of the initial clue that he was in that area. And police were really diligent in following up all leads. They sent guys there, and then they got a plane overhead with that FLIR, and that's what helped locate him.
Carl Schmay, thank you for joining us, lending us your expertise. Retired FBI supervisor, but has served on the FBI SWAT team and has been involved in manhunts. Thank you.
Next, we're going to ask KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas to join the show and help us understand what's taken so long for the media and the public to get their hands on this letter that was written by the Davis County attorney clearing the officers, 5 officers, in a shooting in Farmington in March. The letter is dated July 28th. Let's remember that the shooting happened on March 1st, and we just got a hold of this letter yesterday.
So here's the deal, man. I'm stopping you because there's no registration on your vehicle, and I'm requesting your identification. Okay? You are detained at this time, and you are not free to leave. Are you going to provide me your identification?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a no, that you're not going to.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is our top national story. An escaped murderer has been caught today in Pennsylvania.
Danilo Cavalcante was taken by surprise. Tactical teams surrounded him, and when he realized it, Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens of Pennsylvania State Police said Cavalcante tried to crawl away while holding a rifle.
One of the Customs and Border Control teams, BORTAC, had a dog with them. They released the dog.
Cavalcante was taken into custody in baggy pants, brown boots, and a Philadelphia Eagles sweatshirt. Authorities said the community can finally return to normal while Cavalcante resumes serving a life sentence for murder. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
The Salt Lake School District and community members went back and forth last evening on the prospect of closing some schools. The system's boundary and planning director, Brian Conley, says at this point, no final decisions are near ready to be made.
These are schools we want to study further. Maybe they all work, maybe they don't all work. Maybe some work, maybe some don't.
Conley did not have specific answers as to how eventual closures, if any, would address layoffs or cutbacks to staff, but did say the committee studying specific schools is sensitive to the importance for teachers and the vital roles that they play. There is a new challenge for Utah students interested in Wall Street. The Utah Treasurer's Investment Challenge is a 10-week simulation of Wall Street investing, available to all Utah students grades 4 through 12. Utah Treasury Office Communications Deputy Brittany Griffin says
it gets them exposure to investment concepts starting at a young age so that it's not so foreign, and when they get older, they can start investing younger.
Winning teams will be recognized by state leaders at an awards banquet in January. Speaking of investing, let's check the markets. The Dow is up 75 points. That's 0.2%. We're at 34,722. Coming up, scattered afternoon thunderstorms today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, if you're interested in soft water, let me tell you about Connecticut of Utah. I was this summer traveling down to St. George, and sure enough, I saw Connecticut of Utah. I saw it in a little strip mall, and I'm like, oh, those are my people. That's who installed my water softener. My wife and I decided to get soft water in our house because we really struggle with dry skin, especially here in Utah. When we go through the seasons, it can just be brutal on our skin, and soft water has helped us more than anything we've done. We don't have to bathe in lotion after showers and baths. It's great. So if you're interested, it's not just soft skin, but it's great for expensive appliances, the hard water stains, your laundry, dishes. Soft water is really, really great that way. So give Connecticut of Utah a call, 801-576-8600, 801-576-8600, or you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown, and right now we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale. Visit VWSouthtown.com.
Financing through VCI OAC. Call 801-903-2514 for details.
What is the biggest threat to your retirement savings today? Believe it or not, it's taxes. That's right. You could be paying a lot more taxes in retirement than you realize. Learn more in a free report. 3 retirement tax traps that could wipe out your savings. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. This free report reveals how you could avoid 3 retirement tax traps that could needlessly cost you tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To get this free report, call 801-896-9622. Don't needlessly overpay your taxes in retirement. Get this free report now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
It's the fall sales event at Murdoch Hyundai. Right now, receive 2.99% for 5 years on Santa Fe or Tucson. At Murdoch Hyundai in Logan, Linden, and Murray. Or online at murdochhyundai.com.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Call the pros at Yes and take $50 off any heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical system repair over $200. Get fast relief and $50 off any repair from Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. The same great people providing the same great service that Utah has counted on for more than 45 years. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, Amanda, no accidents reported right now across the Wasatch Front, but we still have a little bit of slowdown northbound I-15 between Bangerter Highway and 123rd South and Draper. Legacy Parkway also has construction slowdowns. That is northbound from Centerville to Farmington, where there's only one lane open, but everybody else is moving nicely. Is the IRS harassing you? Are tax problems ruining your life? Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox help. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, today's high will be 83 degrees with scattered thunderstorms. Things dry out tomorrow and cool down to 78 for a high, and then we get back up into the 80s to finish out the week. Right now it's 70 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Well, let's go up to the Farmington area in Davis County, where the Davis County attorney has ruled the officers involved in a shooting that killed a man. There were 5 officers involved at the scene. So the officers involved in the shooting that killed that man in Farmington at the post office in March were not required by law to wait for the man to fire first, that the officers acted in self-defense. Now, let's remember the original traffic stop over a phony license plate that the officer spots. The county attorney, in this letter we have a copy of, Dave, writes to the chief of police that the license plate wasn't the reason for the shooting. It was the gun that the man pulled. That's the reason for the shooting. So this is a very high-profile shooting. You and I covered it. All of the media covered it. I am perplexed over why this letter is dated July 28th of this year, but the public is just finding out now about the county attorney's justifying, or the county attorney's office justifying this shooting. We just got a copy of this letter yesterday.
This happened just a few miles away from my home, Debbie, and over the last several months, I will occasionally see protests in favor of Chase Allen, the 24-year-old that was killed. And I've seen this, and I've kind of wondered in the back of my mind, like, why is this not progressing? Why haven't we heard something? Because it has taken, I don't know what the normal amount of time is, because it seems like every attorney or district attorney, county attorney progresses at their own pace. I think you've even done stories
I have in the
on
past.
this.
Yeah,
there's not a set time, right?
It can vary on a number of factors, and we can ask Greg Skordas, our legal analyst, more. He was once in the prosecutor's office, now a defense attorney. But let's go back to that body cam footage, because oftentimes we get shootings confused because we're trying to track multiple different officer-involved shootings, and they're happening all over the nation. But let's go back to that March shooting at the post office, the one you said you still see protests at. And remember that the officer pulls Chase Allen over because there's a phony license plate on his car, and he seems to try to be working with Allen to get him to identify himself before the shooting happens.
So here's the deal, man. I'm stopping you because there's no registration on your vehicle, and I'm requesting your identification. Okay? You are detained at this time, and you are not free to leave. Are you going to provide me your identification?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a no, that you're not going to provide me your identification. Is that the route we're going? Or would you like to provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation, we can discuss the laws that you're breaking, and then we can go from there.
And Debbie, you and I have watched this entire confrontation from start to finish. It's very difficult to listen and to watch someone be shot and killed, but we had police cam video that we watched, and the interaction reminded me a lot of what is considered a sovereign citizen, which is, as the FBI describes, an anti-government extremist who believes that even though they physically reside in the country, they are separate or sovereign from the United States. So they don't have to obey the laws, or at least certain laws of the state.
That's what they believe.
That's what they believe.
In the county attorney's letter to the chief of police, he, in the last paragraph, says cops are not required to allow any individual to violate the laws enacted by a legislature because the person does not feel the law is constitutional, or because that person believes the law should not apply to them. Greg Skordas, KSL's legal analyst, glad to have you joining the show on this. First of all, your read of the letter that clears these officers, that letter that is dated 7 weeks ago, and we can get into my concerns over the lag time and the public being notified about the clearance of the officers in the shooting in a moment.
Well, no surprise about the letter, Debbie. And in fact, when I was at the district attorney's office here in Salt Lake, I was charged with investigating officer-involved use of force and shootings. And so we would ultimately end up with a letter similar to the one that Troy Rawlings, the Davis County attorney, wrote to the chief of police. He sort of outlines in fairly simple terms, it's not a real lengthy or descriptive letter, why they don't think they can prevail in the case. And what you really have to decide, Debbie, when you charge someone with a crime, in this case a police officer, is whether you're likely to prevail in front of a jury. And he makes what I consider to be the correct decision, that there's no way that a jury would find these officers guilty of a homicide charge based on the conduct of the individual, and in part because, in large part, because of the tape that you and Dave just played, where the officers seem to be giving this young man every opportunity to comply and just tell us who you are, give us some identification, and if you don't want to be a member of our society and have plates and registration and driver's license, that's fine, but at least identify yourself and comply with the police officer. He'd have been sent on his way. But, of course, we saw what happened after that.
Greg Skordas, KSL legal analyst. Greg, again, I live in this area, and I've seen protests and signs protesting the death of this 24-year-old. One of the things that is brought up is, why didn't the police de-escalate the situation? And I'm not entirely certain what that means. Can a police officer just turn around and leave somebody that doesn't have registration, or what kind of freedom do they have to make that decision?
And I think that's exactly the point, Dave. That is, to de-escalate, I guess people are thinking that should mean just walk away, let the kid continue to drive with no license, no registration, probably no insurance, probably no driver's license. And, police officer can't do that. I mean, they can say, look, we're going to keep your car here. You can go on your way. You can walk anywhere you want. And I think that's what they ultimately would have had to do had he continued not to comply. But they finally just said, look, you've got to get out of the car. You're resisting everything we're asking, including your own name, your own identification. They open the door, and then the kid grabs a gun. So, I mean, this young man, by all accounts, seems to have been very bright, but he was following some advice from some very, very foolish people, and the result was about as bad as you could possibly imagine.
Well, in the letter dated July 28th to the chief of police, the county attorney says the deceased attempted to withdraw a loaded firearm on the assembled officers, and there were actually 4 officers there and a sergeant. And he actually succeeded in getting it out of the holster he was carrying it in. And we can see from the body camera video, we could see, like a gun in the car, and you could see what was going on to some extent. But obviously they had a number of people reviewing this video, and this is what they concluded. The officers were justified. And we have just moments left here, Greg. But I'm having heartburn that this letter was issued to the chief of police of the agency that was being investigated on July 28th. And here we are, if I've counted my weeks correctly, 7 weeks later, and we had to request this letter from the county attorney's office, I believe. Yesterday, we got a copy of it. Why the lag time? And should I be perplexed over that the way I am?
You should, and you should also be concerned. I mean, the letter was sent to the chief of police, and it absolutely should have been copied to various outlets, including the media, because everyone was interested in this, instead of waiting for everyone to have to dig it up with a grandma request, because it was going to be found anyway, Debbie. And I appreciate what the county attorney did. I appreciate the result, but there probably should have and could have been a little bit more transparency in releasing this letter.
Part of the reason he would have to send it to the chief of police is because these officers were likely on administrative leave still?
Right, and the chief of police and other agencies were doing the investigation, the internal affairs investigation, and so he has to come to they do their work, they give him all their evidence, they give him all their findings, and then the county attorney looks at it and says, can I charge a criminal case, and if so, can I win? And he said, no, I can't win this, and so he's closing out the criminal investigation.
Greg Skordas, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Greg. And we also reached out this morning to County Attorney Troy Rawlings and are trying to work on a date when he can join the show, if that's possible. He said he is unavailable today because of other obligations, but we'll continue to pursue an interview, a conversation with him later down the road, either tomorrow or hopefully by next week. In 24 hours, the U.S. auto industry shutting down over a potential strike. And it was the SUVs and trucks that resurrected the U.S. auto industry in the last decade. And Dave, you found out Utah. Wow, we sure bought our share of SUVs and trucks.
Yeah, we were far more interested in SUVs and trucks than the latest and greatest EV or hybrid. But we're going to go to Detroit, Michigan. ABC News will join us as they're having an auto show and what the mood is there with an impending labor strike.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-new station in the morning?
It's this one, weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and it's always so much fun for me to talk about one of my favorite places to shop, and it's a nice place to save, NPS. And they have 4 locations, one in Layton, one in Orem, and 2 locations here in Salt Lake City, just off Redwood Road to the west at 1600 on Empire. And I'll tell you, I'm going to underscore it's a nice place to save because every single day, NPS has everything marked down 30 to 70% off the retail pricing before it even goes to the shelf. And then, like right now, they throw in some incredible deals on top of that. So when I talk about electronics, now there are some exclusions, but most electronics are 30% off the already low prices. How about summer sandals right now? End of the season, but still plenty of time to put them to good use. They're 50% off, and I've just scratched the surface. You're going to love It's an adventure shopping at NPS.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure sells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
They say you slow down as you get older, and it's true. But taking life a little slower here at Summit Vista has been incredibly rewarding. At my age, I know what I like, and it's all here. They call this a life plan community, and I'm liking the concept. I've always been a practical person, and now it's time to treat myself. At Summit Vista, I have a beautiful apartment. It's spacious and contemporary. It feels like me. I have all the independence I want, no more maintenance headaches, no more days spent cleaning. I eat delicious meals with my friends. The staff here feels like family. The socializing and amenities are endless. Frankly, anyone who says luxury living is overrated hasn't been to Summit Vista. I've rebooted my life, and I'm revisiting my younger self with the wisdom of an older woman. And I gotta tell you, feels pretty cool.
Experience retirement living at the top. Visit summitvista.com today.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
If you've had painful kidney stones, you know you don't want more. Moonstone Stone Stopper is a simple solution that works. Created and recommended by top kidney stone doctors, Stone Stopper is an alkali citrate formula scientifically proven to prevent crystallization. Stone Stopper's patented formula is gentle on the stomach and is available in easy-to-swallow capsules, gummies, and powder drinks that make hydration delicious. Stone Stopper is available at participating Walmart and Walgreens stores. Look for the red stop sign on the bottom shelf of the vitamin aisle. For more information or to find a store near you, go to stonestopper.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, the Davis County Attorney has found 5 Farmington police officers justified in their decision to shoot a 25-year-old man during a traffic stop in March. Second, Salt Lake School District officials are telling parents they still don't have enough information to decide whether or not to close several schools. And third, the family of an 18-year-old who was killed in Sugar House over the weekend is calling for the killer to turn themselves in. Right now, it's 70 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
As we've said from day one, September 14th is a deadline, not a reference point. And I got a question for all of you. Are you ready to rumble?
His name is Sean Fain, and he's the union boss of the United Auto Workers. He's got 150,000 auto workers ramped up, ready to strike tomorrow just before midnight if they can't reach a deal.
Yeah, this affects the big 3. In the U.S. auto world, that's Ford, GM, and then Stellantis. No one knows what Stellantis is, but it's essentially Chrysler. So Ford, GM, and Chrysler. This labor strike could hit Utah extremely hard because if you're looking at the new car market in Utah, it might surprise you. We sold 129,000 new cars last year. It's a $6 billion industry in Utah. And you'll remember, the last time we had a car shortage, so if there's a strike, there's no new cars being built, the last time we had a car shortage was during COVID. New car prices spiked 17%. The average is 3% year over 17%.
What was that number you said with the B?
$6 billion in Utah.
Wow. Ford Motors in the past year, they've made a few bucks, some $25 billion in gross
As we
profits.
stand here today, I'm here to tell you there's a new day in this union, and it's time to end corporate greed.
And Sean Fain, the union boss, has them motivated, has these 150,000 workers motivated. Let's go out to Detroit, where Mike Dubusky, ABC News, he covers tech. There's an auto show going on right now, Mike, and it seems like the car show's putting on a brave face as it stares at a work stoppage.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. So this is the Detroit Auto Show. It's largely regarded by people who follow this as the preeminent auto show in North America, right? Detroit is the headquarters of GM, Ford, Stellantis, and it's a big deal for these automakers. Might be able to hear some of their products behind me, as a matter of fact. And that's evidenced by some of the things that were announced at this show. Ford kicked things off last night with a refreshed F-150. This is, of course, their bread and butter pickup truck. It's a best-selling truck in the United States for 46 years. Best-selling vehicle of any kind, in fact, for 41 years. According to Ford, they sell a new F-Series truck every 48 seconds. From purely a revenue perspective, it is bigger than Netflix, Starbucks, and Visa. So that is the level of announcement that we're getting here at the Detroit show. But as you guys alluded to, of course, the thing hanging over all of this is a potential UAW strike, and that is kind of hanging over this entire show today. You can see it sort of evidenced, just in the mood of the show, people walking around discussing this at, several of the reveal events. I overheard a number of people talking about, the union strike, the back and forth negotiations, and where it all goes next.
Mike, you just confirmed why I cannot drive down a street anywhere in Salt Lake County, Utah, and not be either behind, next to, or in front of an F-150. There's a lot of them out there. Very popular cars.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly here in Utah as well.
Yes.
Let's talk about that looming strike. Has there been any movement? Because I think at one point we were reporting that the auto workers wanted like a 40 to 46% pay raise. But that maybe Ford had come back with a number. What do you know?
Yeah, so that was the initial demand from the UAW. Let's just refresh our memory about what their demands were. They were looking for a 32-hour work week. They were looking for the reinstatement of pensions for all members. And at one point, yes, a 40% wage increase. That sounds like a lot because it really is. Everyone you talk to says that these are big numbers that the UAW is asking for, and the UAW is included within that. In fact, Sean Fain, who's the president of that union, said that their demands are audacious and ambitious. Those are the words that he used. Now, since that initial offer, that 40% figure seems to have come down slightly. We're thinking now that's somewhere in the mid 30% range. Ford did put forward a counteroffer, as did GM and Stellantis, but just let's focus on Ford for a second. They said that they were offering 16% wage gains the last time they came out with an official number. And, that's a pretty lucrative deal, at least according to Jim Farley, who used that word to describe it, but it's pretty far away from a mid 30% figure. So the deadline is Thursday night, so time's ticking, and they've got a lot of ground left here.
Mike Dubusky, as you could probably guess as you hear the screeching and squealing of tires in the background, as at the Detroit Auto Show, the big three, I've seen this reported, or at least this is the opinion, that in part why the big three are so hesitant to part with the billions and billions of dollars of their annual profits is because they say they need to invest in new EV plants. As you're at the auto show, what kind of role has EV and hybrid played?
You could probably hear the role that they're playing. In fact, I'm actually sitting next to the EV test track, which is this big indoor sort of complex they've set up. One of the things about electric vehicles, obviously they don't have any emissions, which means you can drive them inside, for indefinitely, or at least until they run out of charge. That's one of the things that we've seen crop up at auto shows recently as the industry transitions over to electric power. Now, part of it is, let's move over to the new technology, let's innovate, let's, new to our propulsion. And is that the automakers have to do this, both California and...
I think we've lost Mike. Mike, thank you. Yeah, I think the point he was going to make is there are several states across the country that have said by 2030 that all new cars will have to be sold as an EV car. So a lot of the big three U.S. automakers are in supercharged gear to try to get enough EVs available.
How do you think Utah car buyers are going to respond if there is a prolonged strike back in Detroit where folks aren't showing up to the line to make the cars? You were looking into some numbers. I mean, we are addicted to SUVs and trucks.
Well, not just SUVs and trucks, but just vehicles in general. When the supply tanked during COVID, sure, it went up 17% for new cars, but used cars went up 18%. So when there was a lack of supply, they skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. But Debbie, I think we need to dive into how much we love here in Utah, not the EV, not the hybrid, but the SUV and truck.
Let's do that in the 11 o'clock hour.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Prosecutors have found 5 Farmington police officers were justified in a fatal shooting during a traffic stop 6 months ago. In a letter, Davis County Attorney Troy Rollins says the stop was legitimate because Chase Allen had a false license plate and that he later refused to provide the officers documentation. Days after the shooting, Farmington Police Chief Eric Johnson said Allen refused to get out of the car and had a gun on him when officers tried to pull him out.
I say it's just a tragic ending to what started out as an everyday traffic stop.
Rollins says the gun was loaded and Allen was able to get it out of his holster. Allen's family said they learned about the shooting from media reports, not from police, and they called it a brutal murder. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Pennsylvania prison escapee has been on the run for almost 2 weeks. Finally captured now. ABC's Derek Dennis reports.
No shots fired, no officers injured, but prison escapee Danilo Cavalcante didn't go into police custody peacefully. It took state police officers and a specialized Border Patrol tactical team with a dog.
The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in.
State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says Cavalcante was still armed with a rifle stolen from a homeowner earlier in the week. He was tired, desperate, and wearing an Eagles sweatshirt after being on the run for 13 days.
He did sustain a minor bite wound.
His life sentence for killing his ex-girlfriend now includes a long list of additional charges. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average up on the day, 53 points right now, and the NASDAQ is up 57 points. Our KSL weather, whatever chance of storms we have is happening today. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
As the weather turns colder, this is when you need to get those new windows. So call Advanced Window Products. They'll replace your single-pane, rickety old windows with stylish, state-of-the-art double-pane windows with precision frames. You pick the style and color. They're custom-made right here in Salt Lake City. This company is so Utah. It's run by 2 guys who grew up here, Jake Weber and Utes defensive star Nate Orchard, the mayor of Sacktown with 7 NFL seasons under his belt. Great guys, great company building high-quality windows for 37 years. Unlike other companies, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. No middleman. There's Jake, Nate, and their team, and there's you. Saving on the highest quality windows. Right now, before winter, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more, and they offer 60 months, 0% financing. So call Advanced Window Products now. You could have stylish new windows in 8 weeks. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Here's a question. Do you wear dentures?
At Grandpa's Dental, you can trade in your floppy dentures and get $2,000 towards an implant-supported solution. You know, they say the older you get, the more you need your teeth. Well, chewing your food isn't a luxury. And taking a bite out of a nice, juicy steak, well, it takes teeth. At Grandpa's Dental, they have over 10,000 restorations under their belt, and it's always affordable. When you walk into one of their 3 locations, you're family, period. At Grandpa's Dental, they live their family legacy by building lasting relationships through state-of-the-art services. So if you want to stop the flop and actually eat foods you can chew, trade in your dentures at Grandpa's Dental for $2,000 toward your implant solution. Schedule your free consultation at grandpasdental.com today. That's grandpasdental.com.
Found your dream house, but not your dream rate? Make your purchase with a home loan from Cyprus Credit Union. Refinance within 12 months if rates drop, and Cyprus Credit Union will take care of the refinancing fees.
Listen to the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. The Utah Symphony's Masterworks concerts offer elegant and entertaining evenings at Marisa Brovnal Hall in the heart of Salt Lake City, featuring timeless masterpieces by Beethoven, Dvorak, and Mozart, and even world premieres from modern composers. Tickets start as low as $21. Get yours at utahsymphony.org. The Utah Symphony presents one of the biggest hits from 1893, Dvorak's New World Symphony. A piece so iconic it inspired the scores for Jaws and Star Wars, and even joined Neil Armstrong during the first moon landing in 1969. This is your perfect first symphony concert. Join the Utah Symphony September 15th and 16th for a jaw-dropping performance of Dvorak's New World Symphony. Tickets start as low as $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a bit of slowing right now on westbound I-84. It's after you leave the US 89 area of South Weber and head toward the 500 East overpass. Haven't heard of a crash in that area. It may be construction, but just be aware it'll add a minute or two to your commute. No problems on I-15 northbound or southbound throughout Utah, Salt Lake, or Davis counties. The Utah RV Super Show at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy, September 14th through 17th. Get information and discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we could see some scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Dry air moves in tomorrow. Today's high 83, 78 tomorrow, upper 80s by Sunday. And right now, we're at 69 degrees and mostly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Let's start the 10 o'clock hour with a story that has hit some national news outlets, but I haven't seen a lot of this covered locally, and it's involving a local gun safe manufacturer in Payson, Utah. The name of the company is Liberty Safe.
Oh, they're from Utah?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, I saw this story.
You did?
Didn't realize it was a local company.
So let's take the article from the New York Times. I mean, you can read it at Newsweek. Fox Business News has done a story on it. Let's just use the one from the New York Times. And it really kind of lays out why this Utah company has hit a very sour note with some of its customers. And now you notice this morning that the Missouri Attorney General's office has said that they're going to launch an investigation into some of the company's practices.
Yeah. And one of those practices is police can ask basically for the code, right? The combination.
Well, let's get into the New York Times article. And the New York Times headline is How a Company That Makes Gun Safes Angered Gun Owners. And this just happened, this story was just posted last week. It goes on to say that Liberty Safe faced intense criticism this week after it acknowledged that it had voluntarily given the FBI the access code to a safe in response to a search warrant on a property.
And we have reached out to Liberty Safes. We'd love to talk to them and find out the thinking behind this. But I will say this, I'm a little bit surprised that once that safe is sold, that somebody else knows the combination.
That it's kept in-house.
Yeah, I would assume that once I buy the safe, part of that agreement, just, again, knowing very little about safes or how the business works, I would just assume that I'm the only one that has that combination. And if I ever lose that, then that is just me being out of luck.
As somebody who had a safe in their home that required, like, it felt like it was a little bit of like a Fort Knox magic trick to get this thing open. I mean, it was a hefty safe with a big wheel on the front, like I was driving a boat, trying to open the safe. I would actually be grateful if the company I bought the safe from kept the code handy.
Okay.
Because
did
there
you
might
assume
been
they
time,
did?
No, I wouldn't even thought about this because I never lost the code. But let's say something had happened to me and somebody, like one of my kids, needed the code to the safe to get in to find some important documentation. I hadn't left it anywhere obvious. They might need a little help on that. They might need a little support on that. But let's start with let's talk about what prompted this backlash to begin with. So you got to get this guy by the name of Nathan Earl Hughes. He's 34 years old. He lives in Arkansas. You got to get him on your radar, Dave. He was arrested, according to this New York Times article, at the end of August on felony and misdemeanor charges, accusing him of storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6th of 2021. We're all very familiar with that, right? And according to him, now this is according to the guy who's been in the sights of the FBI, Mr. Hughes on a like a social media platform of some kind says that FBI agents searched his home on August 30th, and they called the manufacturer of my Liberty safe, got the passcode from them, and got into it too. That's what the statement from the guy who was, again, in the sights of the FBI regarding the January 6th insurrection has said about Liberty Safe and Payson.
Okay, so I'm going to need some more details here, Deb.
Let's see if I've got them for you.
He says the FBI basically calls up Liberty Safe, got the passcode from them. They had to have had some sort of search warrant, right?
So this is where the company's statement comes into play, and the New York Times published that. And I also found the company's statement on Twitter. And they issue one statement, and then I think a day later or so, they issue another statement. So in the one statement, they say that they had given the FBI the code after the agency contacted the company on August 30th in connection with a search warrant for an unspecified property. It said that they did not know the details of the investigation at the time. So let me see if I can give you a little bit more from their statement. They say that our company protocol is to provide access codes to law enforcement if a warrant grants them access to a property. And after receiving the request, we received proof of the valid warrant, and only then did we provide them with an access code. Liberty Safe had no knowledge of any of the details surrounding the investigation at the time. So, in reading Liberty Safe's statement in regards to this story as it's developing and as Mr. Hughes is posting what happened inside his home online and people are reacting to it and getting upset, it would appear that what Liberty Safe got was a copy of the search warrant for Mr. Hughes's property.
Okay.
Not an independent subpoena from the FBI asking for Mr. Hughes's access code. But you've said it well at the beginning of this conversation. Maybe he was under the impression, you would have been under the impression or a little surprised that the company kept the access code on hand.
In part, Debbie, because my iPhone and everyone has the
That's
iPhone.
Actually, a pretty good example.
Your iPhone is almost completely. Maybe I don't need to even qualify it. It is completely safe. In fact, on Apple's website, there's the question. Has Apple unlocked iPhones for law enforcement in the past? And this is what Apple says. No. We regularly receive law enforcement requests for information about our customers and their Apple devices. We do not provide them this access. So my assumption is, well, if law enforcement can't get into my own iPhone, then they wouldn't have access to my private safe. Or at least they would have to hack it or get into it, that they wouldn't be able to call up, just like they can't call up Apple and get my password, they can't call up the safe company and get their password.
Well, let me swoop in with this second statement that Liberty Safe issued about this controversy that has spun some people up regarding FBI getting access to this man's safe codes, and then apparently, according to him, being able to access the safe. I think it was the next day that Liberty Safe, entitled Liberty Safe's Commitment to Customer Choice. We have revised our policies around cooperation with law enforcement. Going forward, we will require a subpoena that legally compels Liberty Safe to supply access codes, but can only do so if these codes still exist in our system. That line is important because earlier in their statement, they said effective immediately, existing customers can visit the Liberty Safe website and fill out a form to have the records of their access codes expunged. And in the coming weeks, they're going to be releasing another feature that gives every customer this option when registering their safe.
So you said with your big safe, you would have liked to have that backup, and that you could call Liberty and say,
it sounds like they're giving customers an option to keep those codes on file, but customers who don't feel comfortable with a company having their safe combination remaining on file after they've long since purchased the safe and set it up in their home, they can have those records expunged.
That makes kind of total sense. Like whatever you want, you buy it, you can choose whether we keep yours on file or we blow it out of the system.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
This autumn, fall for the KSL hosts who share this community with you and report on Utah's most important stories. Depend on Tim and Amanda, mornings from 5 to 9. Listen to Dave and Dujanovic at 9, Boyd Matheson at 1, and Jeff Kaplan on the ride home from 3 to 7. We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Have you ever had somebody come out to your house and give you a bid? You need some work done, they give you a bid, and then once you actually get the invoice, it's way higher. Yeah, I've 100% experienced that.
I do not like playing that guessing game either, Dave, and that's why you need to call Master Electrical. Master Electrical has upfront pricing. It is their upfront pricing guarantee, and I guarantee you're going to love it the way I loved it when it was explained to me. The price they quote you up front, it's guaranteed that is the price you pay at the end of the job, whether it's, ceiling lights that you need, or maybe you need a new ceiling fan, or you just bought an EV and you need a new EV charger installed. Master Electrical has you covered.
Yeah, it's all part of their upfront pricing guarantee. They serve people from Logan to Santa Quinn. If you know where Santa Quinn is, I'm not exactly sure where Santa Quinn is.
I just drove past it last weekend. It's probably about 45 minutes south of Salt Lake City. Yeah, it's a lovely community. You can call Master Electrical today, 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
Or online at masterelectrical.com.
Are you or someone you take care of as their caregiver living with Alzheimer's disease? This study just might be for you. Consider participating in Athira's clinical trial exploring a novel repair and regenerative approach to Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City is looking for people with mild to moderate dementia, 55 to 85 years old. A consistent caregiver or support person is necessary for the conduct of this study. This study is a late-stage clinical study of an investigational drug for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research has over 30 years' experience with clinical trials. They conduct their business with professionalism, efficiency, and integrity. Contact Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City today. Again, call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com. That's pantheonclinical.com.
What's the biggest threat to your retirement savings today? Believe it or not, it's taxes. That's right, you could be paying a lot more taxes in retirement than you realize. Learn more in a free report, 3 retirement tax traps that could wipe out your savings. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. This free report reveals how you could avoid 3 retirement tax traps that could needlessly cost you tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To get this free report, call 801-896-9622. Don't needlessly overpay your taxes in retirement. Get this free report now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
If you want a heating and air company that uses third-party verification of their work, that is one of the highest rated on both Google and Yelp, then call At Your Service Pros at 801-YOUR-PRO.
Because we have had the Connecticut soft water system in our home for years and years, as a matter of fact, 2 different homes, I can tell you that it really is so much better than other water softeners, hands down. I love it because it makes a bag of salt last 3 times longer than the systems of competitors. It gives you wonderful, luxurious soft water you can count on 24/7. And when you're dealing with these folks, you're going to love. You'll find out that there are no nonsense, no loopholes, 10-year warranty. You feel like you've really found friends, and you find yourself really in softwater heaven. Connecticut of Utah. If your system doesn't sound like the one I just described, I want you to call Monty. I want you to call Steve. The great people, all of them there at Connecticut, will take care of you. 801-576-8600, or go online at softwaterutah.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Davis County Attorney has decided the 5 officers who shot a man during a traffic stop in Farmington were justified in taking that action. Second, Utah's state treasurer has a challenge for high school students. How well would your investments do in the real-world stock market if you were using real money? And third, police in Chester County, Pennsylvania, have captured an escaped murderer who evaded them for almost 2 weeks. Right now, 69 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
When I think of AI, I guess I just really don't know what I think of yet with artificial intelligence. Because if Alexa, and sorry, I just sounded off.
You launched everybody's.
I know. Well, if she's an indication of what AI is, she can't even get my shopping list right. Like I get to the groceries. I literally got to the grocery store once and looked at my shopping list for groceries, and she had on there, you say, hey, you say, Alexa, add such and such to my shopping list. She had like gold tones shoes on there or something. It just didn't even make sense to me at all. But Lindsay Aerts, our political reporter at KSL News Radio, has focused in on what I think is kind of a concerning part of artificial intelligence, because she says it's already starting to show up in political ads for the 2024 race for the White House.
Okay, so artificial intelligence is the future. We're going to have to just wrap our brains around this. It's going to change everything. It will change everything about our lives. I believe it is that powerful in the future. And the fact we're just getting little tastes of it, of what that could be, is kind of terrifying.
So I got to listen to Lindsay's story, and then let's bring on tech expert Earl Foote to talk more about this.
Can you tell that this is Tim Scott's AI-generated voice in this ad? It's called Who's More Woke, Nikki Haley or Tim Scott?
Who supported defunding local police?
That's me, Tim Scott. My Justice Act defunded police.
How about this one of Haley?
Who demolished the Confederate Memorial in Columbia?
Me, Nikki Haley. This is running on radio stations in 2 early voting states. Now, some efforts have been made to rein in AI's power, like Google's AI ads require a disclaimer, and the FEC taking some steps. Plus, there's some legislation being worked on. But until there's anything solid, savvy voters may be the last line of defense. Lindsay Ertz, KSL News Radio.
How would you know? It sounded just like them. Like, I couldn't tell. I've heard Tim Scott talk 1,000 times. Nikki Haley as well. I couldn't tell the difference.
Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's you can't get it back in either. Once somebody has their mind made up as a voter that somebody's done something and they don't like it, or they have heartburn over it, it's really hard going backtracking, getting that toothpaste back in the tube and saying it wasn't me, it was AI. And AI is such a phantom concept to so many of us. I really wouldn't even know what it is or what they did wrong.
Well, in part, we don't know what to do with this. We don't know what to do with deep fakes that are coming forward. But for as long as I can remember, we've had celebrity impersonators, and they show up on commercials and they pretend to be so and so. So we've had this on some level for a lot of years. What makes AI, I think, a little different is it's so accurate. It's one thing if you're Dana Carvey trying to pretend to be George Bush.
I think he's pretty good.
He's fantastic, and he's funny. But there's a difference between Dana Carvey and being really close to George Bush and AI hitting it like 99.9% accurate.
Earl Foote, Nexus IT, that's the company he founded and runs. He's on the line with us right now, and give us some insight. How in the world would we be able to tell if it's artificial intelligence talking like in an ad like that, or the real person, Earl?
Yeah, good morning, Dev and Dave. Thanks so much for having me on the show. The two examples you played in the story, the sound bites are so short that honestly it would be really, really difficult, for a human to determine on the fly whether or not that's AI or whether it's, a real human. Now, we should know that there are AI-powered tools that are starting to come out that that can be used to detect AI-generated content, whether that's a voice, photo, video. Intel has one called Fake Catcher. Microsoft has one called Video Authenticator. There are others you can simply, search for on Google. Now, if you get a phone call over your phone for a political ad, it's not like you can necessarily, plug that into a URL on a website and process it. And so I think there's if you have longer sound bites, there's some things that you want to look for as a human that can give you some signs whether or not you're listening to AI-generated content or whether you're listening to a real human being. And some of those things are too much consistency. If the soundbite, if the message is too concise, it's too accurate, it's too robotic or monotonous, with no mistakes at all. We're human. We tend to make mistakes. We tend to have unnatural pauses or stutters or stumbles. If those don't exist, the likelihood that you're listening to AI is much higher. Listening for background noises, like you may have just heard my dogs in the background bark at something in the backyard. Who knows what they're barking at? But if there's zero background noise, the likelihood that you're listening to AI is much higher. If there's no kind of natural human inflection or emotion in the voice, it's just too robotic. Or the other thing to look for is if the verbiage, if the phraseology is just too formal, right? It's kind of unnatural to the way we would speak to each other. Those types of things are things that can give you some hints on the fly if you're listening to AI or if you're, actually listening to a human being. When in doubt, if anything sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And when in doubt, certainly, particularly on the phone, the AI can be used for scams at this point. So if you're receiving a phone call that you're just not, familiar with the origin, just hang up. Don't take the chance.
Earl, final question. With the AI voice, does it have to be pre-typed out, pre-recorded, or can I speak into a speaker and it will manipulate my voice on the fly?
So actually, yeah, there are two pieces to that. I mean, AI can converse with you real time. So based upon your responses, it can formulate, real time responses to you on the fly. And there are AI tools out there that can emulate your voice on the fly as well, Dave. So we could have deep fake, Dave Noriegas out there.
Probably much more eloquent than the actual Dave Noriega. Earl Foote, thank you for terrifying us. But there are some solutions. You heard that there are some authenticators that are starting to come out because obviously the technology is out there that can be extremely damaging, and there needs to be some protections.
I don't want to say I have like a bionic ear, but I can tell. Can't we tell? Can you tell when there's automated like commercials on the air?
No.
When you can't?
I have a terrible ear for that stuff.
I can tell. I mean, like, that does not sound like a human being speaking. It sounds like something that has been typed into a computer, and then a computer voice has manipulated it. I was told, I used to do a lot of voice work in the early 90s. I did a lot of voice work actually for software programs where they would put my voice on, like, now enter F5, hit space. And that I did a lot of that. And the person that hired me to do that said, one day your voice will be replaced by a computer. I'm like, I don't know how. I already sound like a computer.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour, artificial intelligence already starting to show up in political ads for 2024. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts has details.
Can you tell that this is Tim Scott's AI-generated voice in this ad? It's called Who's More Woke, Nikki Haley or Tim Scott?
Who supported defunding local police?
That's me, Tim Scott. My Justice Act defunded police.
How about this one of Haley?
Who demolished the Confederate Memorial in Columbia?
Me, Nikki Haley.
This is running on radio stations in 2 early voting states. Now, some efforts have been made to rein in AI's power, like Google's AI ads require a disclaimer and the FEC taking some steps. Plus, there's some legislation being worked on. But until there's anything solid, savvy voters may be the last line of defense. Lindsay Aerts, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. New federal charges have been filed this week against 5 ex-Memphis police officers involved in the death of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has more.
Federal prosecutors claimed that during a traffic stop, not only did police viciously beat Nichols in violation of his civil rights, they were indifferent to his critical injuries, failing to alert emergency dispatchers sending assistance, and failing to report the extent of his beating to paramedics and police supervisors arriving at the scene last January.
The 5 officers were fired after the attack, and they're also facing a lawsuit from members of Nichols' family. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, about 65 points. The NASDAQ is up 73. And our KSL weather. Whatever thunderstorm activity we're going to have is going to happen today. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
The best value in live TV and streaming is with Xfinity Internet and Now TV. It's the best network for watching all the entertainment you love without missing a beat, including live TV and sports. All your favorite shows and movies on a network made for streaming. Watch what you want, when you want. All you have to do is just sit back and enjoy. Get way more into what you're into. Stream on the next generation Xfinity 10G network. Switch today to get a great deal on a great deal of entertainment. And speaking of great deals, now through September 21st, get 1.2 gig internet on the 10G network network for just $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. Plus, there's no annual contract and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Plus, add Now TV with Peacock Premium, a $5.99 a month value included at no extra cost for just $20 a month. Switch today. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Now TV requires Xfinity Internet, taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet after promo. Regular rates apply to Internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
We do have a new crash reported in Parley's Canyon. This is eastbound I-80 right near Immigration Canyon. It's over on the right shoulder, but it looks like traffic is a bit slow in that area. So just use caution and stay to your left. No problems, though, along the Wasatch Front. I-15 is moving at speed both directions throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. With over 30-plus specialties and multiple locations across Utah, Revere has you covered for all your health needs. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life. Online at reverehealth.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we could see some scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Dry air moves in tomorrow, and today's high 83, tomorrow 78, upper 80s by Sunday. Right now, it's 70 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Come on, hop on board. We're going to take the train right now from Salt Lake City to Las Vegas. You're like, wait a minute, there's a train? Because if there's a train, I would totally be on board that train right now to Vegas. No, but there isn't one yet, but there may soon be.
Okay, first of all, no, you wouldn't be, because those things exist. It's called Amtrak. Amtrak is a disaster. Apologies if Amtrak is one of our sponsors, but I've done a lot of training in my life. I lived in Europe for a couple of years, so I've done a lot of travel by train. There's a reason trains went out of business, is because flights are faster and they're cheaper. And not just a little cheaper, they're a ton cheaper. I just looked this morning, Debbie, what it would cost for me to go from Salt Lake to L.A. and back. Are you ready for this? $110 round trip.
Why are you not in L.A. right now?
I'm out. See ya.
But oftentimes, when I'm driving to places like Las Vegas, and I don't typically fly to Vegas, I typically drive to Vegas. I don't like the Virgin River Gorge. I find it's unpredictable for semi-trucks breaking down and cars getting into accidents, and then you're stuck in the gorge. I'm also not opposed to the idea. I think it's quite romantic of taking the train, and you're like, well, you'd be taking it alone. Right. So Jay Evenson of the Deseret News, he's the senior editorial columnist with the D News, in studio with us once again. Jay, the opinion piece that you wrote is entitled, "Will a train run from Salt Lake to Vegas? At what price?" So give us the details.
Yeah, first of all, Dave, this is not Amtrak. This is a private company, and this is what makes this so interesting to me, because it's not our money, it's their money, and if they think they can make it work, well, I want to give them a chance and see. And we have to sort of differentiate, because the state of Utah right now is looking for a federal grant to study the feasibility of a train service from here to Las Vegas, and Idaho is studying Boise to Salt Lake. This is separate from that. This is Dreamstar Lines Incorporated in Newport Beach, California. They're already working on a private line between LA and San Francisco, and they told me that it should be up and running by 2025. And they're using existing tracks. The other differentiation here, this is not a bullet train. People keep thinking, oh, this is high speed and you're going to be in Las Vegas in an hour and a half. No, you're going to be there in about 8 or 9 hours, which is, yes, slower than you could drive. Excuse me, slower than you could drive. So what they're trying to sell is convenience, and they're trying to keep it within a cost factor that's equal to airfare plus a hotel stay, because you'll be sleeping overnight on this train. So would you go from here to Las Vegas for $300?
Yes.
That's really the question.
On a train. Absolutely. I think it's all about the experience. And as I said, if you've driven that drive from Vegas to Salt Lake to Las Vegas, it can get a little bit boring. There was one time I had my kids in the car. I actually got quite sleepy, which was dangerous, and we had to pull over, and my kids were too little to drive by many years, and so Mama had to take a little nap at the rest stop. And these things happen, and then there's crashes, and one year my friends kind of had to drive the long way around a massive fire that broke out on I-15. So I like the idea of an option here, Jay.
2 words, dining car.
I'm in. I'm in. Is that included with the price of a
I
ticket?
believe it is. Yes. Fine dining, and, how does that song go? Nothing could be finer than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. I don't know. But, there is a convenience factor. But I don't think they want you to do it for the romance. They want you to make it a habit to do.
Okay.
And they told me that they're really looking at 3 markets. There's Salt Lake to Las Vegas. There's Las Vegas to Los Angeles. And there's Salt Lake to Los Angeles, which they think is the big market. But L.A. to Las Vegas is the second most traveled air route in the country. And when you talk about how fast it is to fly, you have to consider how early do you have to be at the airport? How long are you standing in the TSA line? How often is your plane delayed? It's just a hassle.
Have you ever come back from a flight at midnight? This is going to sound eerily, suspiciously familiar. And wandered the parking lot, the long-term parking lot, not remembering where you parked your car? That can take 45 minutes just on its own. I'm with you. The TSA lines can be long. The drive to the airport can cost, I think the last time I Ubered it to the airport, it was $60 because I didn't want to leave my car in long-term parking. So these other prices nickel and dime us to well over the cost of just our airfare.
And the train puts you right downtown in L.A. or Las Vegas, not out in some airport where you have to find transportation into town.
Okay.
So
you're selling it.
Well,
you're selling it.
I'm a little skeptical myself because it hasn't been done, but they tell me that, millennials really like trains. Things are changing, and they think they can be competitive. And like I said, it's their money. Let them try.
And when they're using, do they have to lease the rails? Are they available for private? Do they have to negotiate with the government? How does that work?
Yes, they have to negotiate, and I believe they have to lease. But they told me that there are a lot of unused rail lines in the West left over from the good old days. And they are in the process of negotiating for lines in California between Los Angeles and San Francisco. They didn't seem to think that was an insurmountable problem. And there are lines that have less freight traffic. If you have a lot of freight traffic on that line, you're going to have delays, and that's going to be frustrating too. You'll be sitting there on the track, and when you're done with dinner, then what do you do?
Jay Evenson is with the Deseret News. He's a senior editorial columnist, and he wrote an opinion piece that caught our eye. And you can find it at Deseret.com. Will a train run from Salt Lake to Vegas, and at what price? The price could be around $300. Is that round trip?
I don't know if that's round trip.
It better be.
So what about a timeline? You said maybe L.A. to San Francisco by 2025 is what this company is looking for. But what about Salt Lake to Vegas? Any input on that?
Sometime after that. It's interesting because there is this ongoing state effort to try to study the feasibility. And I talked to UDOT, and they said they never heard of Dreamstar Lines. And so you don't want to have two companies that are offering the same service. Dreamstar says they're very happy to negotiate with the state to have that contract eventually to do it. UTA tells me they're not interested in running the line. They're interested in getting someone else to do it. So this is, mid to late 20s, I'm guessing, but we'll have to wait and see.
Jay Evenson with Deseret News, thank you for joining us. It's a great conversation, Deb. You saw we posted this on social media.
We did, and we got smacked with tons of comments at KSL News Radio's Facebook page. So if you want to go over there and comment right now, if you're sitting at your desk and listening, you can pull up Facebook, go to KSL News Radio's Facebook page, and Jay, your opinion piece has ignited lots of interest in this idea. And the post that we put there is, if there was a train from Salt Lake to Las Vegas, would you take it? We have almost 200 people in 45 minutes commenting on this post. Let's get folks to call in. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Do you want to stick around and take calls with us, Jay? You do? Okay. Jay says, yeah, he's going to stick around and take calls with us. 801-575-TALK. If there was a train from Salt Lake to Las Vegas, would you hop on board? Taking your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, if you have a family member that is struggling with addiction, you're not alone. Tens of millions of Americans struggle with this every single year. And addiction is tricky. That's why I want to tell you about Renaissance Ranch, because it can be overwhelming. You can feel overwhelmed as a family member, not quite sure what to do, how to help somebody. My dad was a therapist for a number of years, worked with kids primarily that struggled with alcohol and drug. Renaissance Ranch is focusing on adult males. They have a faith-based and clinically proven program that has worked for more than 20 years. But Renaissance Ranch wants to give you some tools. If you don't know what to do, they have some free online classes that are available to the public. You can go to as many of these as you want, but these classes are taught from a spousal, parental, and personal perspective. They even have a women's support group and a couples recovery group. And you can learn about this and find out more by going to renaissanceranch.com. Again, these free online classes are open to the public. Renaissance Ranch is Utah's best-in-state winning substance abuse and mental health treatment provider. Learn more at renaissanceranch.com.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing. Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you've had painful kidney stones, you know you don't want more. Moonstone Stone Stopper is a simple solution that works. Created and recommended by top kidney stone doctors, Stone Stopper is an alkali citrate formula scientifically proven to prevent crystallization. Stone Stopper's patented formula is gentle on the stomach and is available in easy-to-swallow capsules, gummies, and powder drinks that make hydration delicious. Stone Stopper is available at participating Walmart and Walgreens stores. Look for the red stop sign on the bottom shelf of the vitamin aisle. For more information or to find a store near you, go to stonestopper.com.
Spend some time with the ones you love in one of the most unique dining experiences in Utah. Five All's Restaurant has 5 stars, 5 courses, and is a step back in time.
Martin's Collision Repair.
50,000 cars repaired and counting. Just check Martin's 5-star online reviews.
Philip posted, the workmanship was very well done. I was impressed with how well we were treated by each of the employees that we dealt with.
Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Check Martin's Facebook page or martinscollision.com for your 5-star Martin's experience. On State Street in Norham and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
Here's Jake Harwood of Harwood Farms.
Hi, I'm Jake. I'm a farmer, but the corn season is just about over.
And Harwood Farms green roadside stands will be closing for the season soon.
But it's not too late yet. The fresh growing season is still going strong.
Stop by and stock up now with Jake's Farm fresh corn, raspberries, tomatoes, peaches, and more.
After that, it's Jaker's Jack-o'-lanterns for the fall.
Then it's sayonara, arrivederci, adios, adieu, ciao, and guten tag till next year.
Something like that, fresh from our family's farm to your family's dinner table.
Harwood Farms.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, some political ads with fake voices generated by AI are already on the radio back east. Second, police in Pennsylvania have caught a convicted murderer who escaped from prison 2 weeks ago. Third, the 5 ex-police officers accused of the beating death of Tyree Nichols in Memphis are now facing federal charges. Right now, we're at 70 degrees under mostly cloudy skies in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Listeners are lining up the KSL News Radio Facebook page right now, answering this question. If there was a train from Salt Lake to Vegas, would you take it? We're also taking your live phone calls. Would you hop on board if it was offered, if it was available? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. I don't even know what it's like to ride a train, Dave, because I haven't been on a train except for Trax train, Front Runner, those types of trains. But like a choo-choo train for a very, very long time. I'm wondering what it's like.
I've done a lot of train riding. I've done the Channel. I've done the train across Europe, the Europass. I've spent hours and hours traveling by train. I lived in Spain for a couple of years, and train is really, really popular there. And they have a very good network. It's very affordable. So I've seen it work in a lot of ways. Culturally, we are not train people. In America, we are not trained people. We love our vehicles. We love our big vehicles. And that plays into it, right? It's one thing over in Europe where a lot of the vehicles are much smaller. We are SUVs and trucks all the way. That is the majority of vehicles that are being purchased, SUVs and trucks. So they're bigger, they're spacious, they're more comfortable. So long trips are not as miserable as they.
This hot topic comes to us thanks to the senior editorial opinion writer for the Deseret News, Jay Evenson. It's at Deseret.com. Will a train run from Salt Lake to Vegas, and at what price? 801-575-TALK. And let me get to some of the comments that I'm seeing here on Facebook. Jay, you stuck around. We just had the discussion with you moments ago about your opinion piece, saying it's going to be a few years out. It may cost in the neighborhood of $300. We don't know if that's one way or a round trip. There will be a dining car on board, and it is how many hours long?
Oh, about 8 or 9 hours to Las Vegas.
But it dumps you off right smack dab in the middle of Vegas.
Yes.
So our listeners at KSLNewsRadio.com are on board. One right after the other. Yes, 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 absolutely. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, in a heartbeat. Of course. Yeah, it would be a beautiful ride.
This shocks me. Interesting. You folks, what is your experience? How often have you ridden a train? It's not, I don't know. I like it for short trips. And Jay, you said that's part of the business plan. This is not for the long trips.
Right. It's 400 to 700 miles approximately. But I agree with you, Dave, that we're car people, and particularly in the western United States, but are we airplane people? That's kind of the distinction here. And I think many people would say they're becoming less and less airplane people because it's becoming more and more of a hassle.
Colton, on the line with us live right now. Colton, would you take the train if it were available from Salt Lake to Las Vegas?
Oh, definitely. I would totally take the train to Las Vegas, or from Salt Lake to Las Vegas. I travel all the time, and if it gets me the chance to see what our state really is about, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Jay Evenson, still in studio with us with Deseret News. He wrote this opinion piece, and that is one of the questions also on our Facebook page regarding scenery. Would it be a scenic ride? What are your thoughts?
Well,
do you have any insight on that?
It would depend on which tracks they're using and where they're going. But when you get into southern Utah, I think, yes, it would be very scenic and beautiful.
Down in southern
I'm
Utah.
wondering, I don't know if Colton's still on the line, but is $300, is that a good price point?
We can ask Linda. Linda, she's also on the line. Linda, would $300, is that the right price point for you? Jay wants to know.
Yes, I think it would be. And I'm blind, and I've never been on a train before, so I think that would be neat.
Yeah, and I think it does open up some more opportunities. And in Spanish Fork, what do you think? Ann, do we have you?
Went to book a ticket. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Sam in Spanish Fork.
Hey, Sam.
When my wife and I went to book tickets, we found that the only train that left Salt Lake left at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and we weren't very comfortable leaving the station downtown and parking downtown. So that was kind of the only issue we're up against.
So if this were an option, I'm assuming he's talking about an Amtrak train. Jay, any thoughts on when this train would depart, if they can get it up and running?
Yeah, there are a couple of things to add here. They would have the trains at a time of day when it's safer to ride. But they also told me they would like to have stations in places like Murray and South Jordan along the way so you could get on elsewhere along the Wasatch Front.
And you can hop off it in St. George?
Yes.
And Cedar City
and
as
Cedar
well?
City,
Wow, that would be worth it. We got more phone calls. 801-575-TALK. Dave, who you got?
Well, and it would also be especially helpful for kids, right, that may be going to school in Cedar City at SUU or Utah Tech. It's an easier way to get back and forth.
Absolutely, yeah.
Final call, Benjamin in Taylorsville. Benjamin, what do you think?
Hi. I once took a train from Salt Lake to some small resort down in Colorado. I forget the name of it, but it was the most relaxing trip I've ever taken. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", 265 pounds. I don't fit in anything. Suburbans are cramped. So the train, I could recline my seat beyond 45 degrees. I had tons of leg room.
So better.
It was amazing.
So Benjamin, better for you than boarding a flight?
Absolutely.
It's much more comfortable.
More comfortable than driving any car I've ever been in.
Jay Evenson with the Deseret News wrote this piece. Will a train run from Salt Lake to Vegas, and at what price? I mean, it is still in the works, the possibility of it, but we talked about the dining car experience when we were discussing the options on that train ride with you a bit earlier, and that intrigued me.
Yeah, and the seating, yes, there'll be lots of legroom. They call it parlor seating, which sort of implies you can stretch out and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and that is crucial. Benjamin, I'm there. I'm with you. There's few things that's more uncomfortable. I actually choose not to travel in some ways because flying is so miserable for me because I'm a tall guy as well. And you called? You called back. Good. We lost you. Now we got you back. All right.
Thank you. Well, my comment is just simply the trains are used all along the East Coast and the West Coast. And Utah uses the track, so we're already used to the train. And I think price point should be whatever would be average or less than the price of gas for somebody to drive to make it truly advantageous. That's my opinion on that.
Well, one of the things I really like, Ann, is as opposed to, say, Amtrak or some federal program or state road program, is this is a private company, Jay, and they are going to they're not going to be subsidized. They're going to have to make sure that the price point is available to the majority of folks, or at least that they will take that into account.
They know they're competing with autos. They know they're competing with aircraft. So, yeah, if they're going to make it, they've got to be competitive.
Well, if they do make it, apparently everybody who signed up for KSL News Radio's Facebook page and, commented on our post this morning asking if they would take a train will be on board, Jay, because there's a ton of people here who clearly are interested in concept. We'd have to wait and see what happens and if it happens.
Right. It's very interesting. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for writing this piece. If you want to catch Jay's full story or full opinion piece, it's at Deseret.com. Look for Will a Train Run from Salt Lake to Vegas and at what price? Jay Evenson of the Deseret News. Thanks so much for climbing on board for this discussion.
All aboard.
Actually, you were the conductor. We appreciate you being the conductor, Jay. Come back. You come back every Wednesday and be the conductor of this show?
Happy to do it. Thank you.
No, it's thought-provoking. I think so often as we're looking at different, more affordable ways to travel around the country, we've forgotten about trains. We've forgotten about trains for a very long time because we fell in love with airlines. And I think airlines have forgotten a lot of these rules of comfort while travel. They just stick as many people on a train or on a plane as they can, and it can be miserable.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. There's a new challenge on the horizon for Utah students interested in Wall Street. It's a 10-week simulation of investing on the street launched by Utah's state treasurer. Treasury Office Communications Deputy Brittany Griffin says it's available to all students grades 4 through 12.
It's really great to get the students engaged and thinking about the stock market and thinking about companies and factors that might affect their performance, starting as early as grade 4.
The game is funded by donations, so there's no cost to teachers or schools for their students to participate. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is defending his order of an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, saying congressional investigations paint a culture of corruption around the Biden family, focusing on his son Hunter. ABC News asked the Speaker what Republicans are looking for.
We don't have any of the credit card statements from all the credit cards from this shell companies. We don't have the president's bank statements. We don't have Hunter Biden's bank statements. Providing information like that would answer the question.
The Speaker also struggling to pass legislation to avoid a government shutdown at the end of the month. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up 41 points right now. The NASDAQ is up 73 at this hour. And our KSL weather looks like whatever chance of a storm there's going to be, it will be today. Tomorrow is sunny. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, Give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at Mountain America Expo, Thursday, September 14th through Sunday, September 17th. Come see the new 2024 models and special closeout pricing on all 2023 models. Bring a can of food for the Utah Food Bank and get $1 off per can, up to half off adult admission. Unplug from distractions and plug into your family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
Get the Intermountain West Contractor's Advantage. Quality, speed, value for your money, and $1,000 off a roof replacement. Visit IWCRoofing.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. Don't miss Cold's new Season 3, where I look into the unsolved disappearance of Cherie Warren, a woman last seen leaving her job at a Salt Lake City office in 1985. Police cast suspicion on Cherie's estranged husband and boyfriend, but never made any arrests or recovered Cherie's remains. Find Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Valley Freeway traffic in good shape, but we do have crashes on the side streets. One in South Salt Lake at State Street, 3900 South downtown, an accident at 5th East. Just to the side of 3400 South, and then an auto versus motorcycle or bike crash 3rd South at about 350 East. BYU's finest student dance ensembles present World of Dance, featuring the Ballroom Dance Company, Contemporary Dance Theater, International Folk Dance, Living Legends, Theater Ballet, and Young Ambassadors. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our KSL weather, we can see some scattered thunderstorms this afternoon, dry air moving in tomorrow. And today's high 83, 78 tomorrow, upper 80s by Sunday. And right now, we're at 70 degrees. It's cloudy at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
David Dujanovic.
Clock is ticking, but by this time tomorrow, we're probably going to feel really concerned about the potential for a strike in Detroit involving the big three, Ford, GM, and Chrysler.
As we've said from day one, September 14th is a deadline, not a reference point. And I got a question for all of you. Are you ready to rumble?
Yeah. The, 150,000 auto workers ready to walk off the job tomorrow night just before midnight.
Yeah, every day at 11:05, we're going to look at the biggest national stories and how they affect Utah. And today it's about tomorrow's strike. Now, this is a $6 billion a year industry in Utah. Now, if you're wondering how I got to that number, I looked at how many new cars are sold in Utah every year. And there's a great website from the Utah State Tax Commission, and it breaks down in almost excruciating detail the cars that are purchased. They have it by model, by make, hybrid, EV, light truck. They break everything down. And what they show is 129,000 new cars are sold in Utah. Well, the average new car costs $48,000 a year. Well, 48,000 times 129, that's over $6 billion. So the idea of new cars no longer being made, at least U.S. cars, that it can be devastating to, and not all those cars are from the big three, but you can see it could be a huge chunk.
For dealerships. And for people looking to buy a car, and for taxes that are collected every time you buy a car.
Yep.
So let's talk about the demands, first of all. of what the auto workers are demanding from the big three. And we talked to Michael Dubusky from ABC News, who's actually at the Detroit Auto Show right now, which is still happening. When we were talking to him earlier in the show about the looming strike, there were cars in the background
screeching around.
And then we lost his phone call, and I got a little nervous about what happened to Mike. But so here, let's talk about the demands of what the auto workers want, and then Dave's going to lay out how a very generous labor contract, in the 1980s was it?
Yeah.
Nearly ended the U.S. Auto industry. So when we talked to Mike, he said that the auto workers had budged somewhat, had come down on the request of a 40% pay raise.
Not much.
Well, let me just finish everything. I'm trying to remember what Mike said. Do we have it in here? Do we have his audio in here? I don't think we do. Oh, it's okay. It's down here. But okay, that's all right.
I've got it.
So it was it 46% at one point, and then it came down to 35%?
Here, I'll play it from Mike.
Okay.
Now, since that initial offer, that 40% figure seems to have come down slightly. We're thinking now that's somewhere in the mid 30% range. Ford did put forward a counter offer, as did GM and Stellantis, but just let's focus on Ford for a second. They said that they were offering 16% wage gains the last time they came out with an official number. And that's a pretty lucrative deal, at least according to Jim Farley, who used that word to describe it, but it's pretty far away from a mid 30% figure.
Yeah, the starting wage for the big three is about $17 an hour. If they got a 35% increase, it would jump it up to $23 an hour, so a $6 raise.
Okay. They also want retiree health care paid by the company.
Okay.
They want entry-level workers to be paid closer to veteran workers, although I'm a little confused by that third bullet point because you just said the starting wage is $17 an hour, so I don't know what veteran workers
say
earning.
you've worked there for 10 or 15 years, you can be earning upwards of $35 to $40 an hour.
And here's this has been a sticking point for a while. Now, I did hear this morning on Utah's Morning News that this is just a request by the auto workers to go back to the pre-Great Recession times when they had better benefits, and then we know what happened in the Great Recession. I mean, the whole economy basically. If we weren't in a depression, we were inches away in 2007, 2008, 2009 when things started to really get bad. A 4-day work week, but paid for 5.
Yeah, 32-hour work week, but you're being paid for 40.
And then a jobs bank if the plant closes. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I don't know what a jobs bank is.
Great. I just learned about it. I had no idea this was a thing. This is what the union had negotiated. So if you have a car plant and it shuts down, instead of laying off workers, they would keep everybody on salary.
Okay.
Right? So they get to keep their jobs with the hope. The idea was, okay, once we reopen, then we have all these trained workers. But what was happening is they had to shut down these plants, and in some cases for years, the workers would still have to show up to the plant, but they would be paid for doing nothing. They would be at the plant, they'd be playing board games and reading books, but they were still being paid because that's what the job bank was.
Oh, interesting. Wouldn't that allow them to at least be ready to go once the contract was worked out and they hadn't gone and found other jobs?
Yeah, except for the fact that they're spending there were thousands of workers being paid for not building a thing. It was like an attorney being on retainer where you're just paying them every month even though you don't use them. And that really hurt their profits.
So a few moments ago, we said, let's lay out the bullet points in the contract negotiations. And then you wanted to talk about how, labor almost ruined the whole entire auto industry back in the 80s, right?
Well, yeah. Part of it was that jobs bank that they had. But the way they were able to negotiate such an incredible deal was back in the 1960s. The big three made 9 out of every 10 vehicles. 9 out of every 10. So the union had incredible power to negotiate a labor deal.
They got increased wages and increasingly richer benefits. Their health care is almost totally covered by the companies. So what happened was the auto workers were able to live a very comfortable middle-class life. They could send their kids to college, have a cottage on the lake and a boat, and it really set the standard for middle-class people in the United States.
That was from the New York Times podcast, The Daily, as they've been reporting on this. So things were going very, very well in the U.S. auto industry. And then the 1980s came. And that's when Honda and Toyota came to America and they started building plants. But they built plants in non-union states. So they weren't hampered or they weren't controlled by these contracts that the United Auto Workers Association had negotiated. So they were able to build cars in cheaper factories with cheaper labor.
So they had to find ways to save money elsewhere. They had to use cheaper materials and design cars that were less costly to produce. And so what you ended up with was some really crappy cars. And I think if you talk to GM executives today, they will admit back in the day, they made some really crappy cars, but that was all they could do on the budget they had. And so it just made the competitive problem get even worse.
So they're making these terrible cars. They have a terrible labor agreement, and they are going broke.
You mean the Chevette wasn't an awesome car? How dare you?
Oh, the Citation, the worst built car in history.
Did they build the Geo Metro too?
I don't think so, but
no, I'm not. I should be careful because I know a lot of people who drove those
I love
cars.
my Metro.
Oh, look, yeah, but I mean, come on. There were times when I felt like I had to get out of the car and push some of my cars when I had when I bought these makes and models.
Here was the turning point: the 2008 financial crash.
Okay.
And the big three were losing money hand over fist. They were going bankrupt. It was going to absolutely crash. So the government steps in. There's some bailout. There's some money. There's some loans. But the labor unions had to take a bath. They absolutely did. They cut the pay from $28 an hour, which is what it was. Again, remember, this is back in 2008. $28 an hour. They cut it back to $15 an hour. The car companies then took all this money that they were saving on this new deal, and they started building beautiful, efficient, reliable cars. But what really happened was the truck and SUV industry exploded. Mm-hmm. And that was something that Honda, Toyota, some of these foreign car makers were not excelling at. So the truck and SUV industry basically resurrected the big three. And coming up next, Debbie, you're not going to believe how popular SUVs and trucks are in Utah. The new cars, if it's being purchased, it is an SUV, it is a truck. I'll tell you how often that is being purchased because I've got the numbers down to the car of how popular SUVs and trucks are here in Utah.
Dave and Dujanovic. Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
It's about to get real for the BYU Cougars.
Get to the end zone, touchdown!
This Saturday, the Cougs take on Arkansas from the Powerhouse SEC Conference. Our special extended pregame coverage starts at noon with kickoff at 5:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, if you are a do-it-yourselfer, like I am, and Debbie likes to dabble in a little
You
DIY
say I
stuff.
dabble. I jump face first, face plant, right into the DIY projects. And I'm going to tell you, if I had to do electrical, there's no way I'm touching a single wire in my house. I'm not qualified. I know what my limits are. I'm going to call Master Electrical. I love their upfront pricing guarantee because the price they're going to give me upfront is the price I'm going to pay at the end of the job. And guess what? I don't have to touch any electrical. They know what they're doing. Let them do the work for you.
And you're never going to see an upcharge. Their pricing system simply won't allow it.
No, and they are all over the Wasatch Front. In fact, they'll do electrical work from Logan down to Santa Quin. Dave doesn't know where Santa Quin is. I just drove by it. It's about 45 minutes south of Salt Lake City, so they cover a huge part of Utah.
45 minutes the way you drive. It's an hour and a half by the way I drive. Lights, ceiling fans, smoke detectors, generators, batteries, EV chargers, you name it, they can take care of it.
The phone number is easy to remember, 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
Or online at masterelectrical.com.
With our roots in northern Utah, Holy Cross Hospital has a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and equally honored to care for northern Utah's vibrant communities. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
What is the biggest threat to your retirement savings today? Believe it or not, it's taxes. That's right. You could be paying a lot more taxes in retirement than you realize. Learn more in a free report. 3 retirement tax traps that could wipe out your savings. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. This free report reveals how you could avoid 3 retirement tax traps that could needlessly cost you tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To get this free report, call 801-896-9622. Don't needlessly overpay your taxes in retirement. Get this free report now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Your one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways, fabulous fall colors, and more. Visit cedarcity.com.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, how well would elementary school kids do investing in the stock market? The Utah State Treasurer has a way for them to find out. Second, Governor Cox is in New Hampshire, trying to get his colleagues from both parties to disagree better. And third, if the House conducts an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, what is it they're really trying to find out? Well, Speaker McCarthy has an answer. And right now, it's 70 degrees in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dare I say, it's probably one of the worst purchases I made. Actually, there have been a few mistakes I made, and I knew it after I bought it. I bought a Chevy Blazer. Was it like a Ford Bronco 2 back in the 90s? I bought a Chevy Blazer, but it was the tiny version of it.
Okay.
And it just never. It was like a bad marriage from the beginning. You know, it just did not. It did not do well with me, and I ended up selling it. But I'm looking over this list on Time of the worst vehicles ever sold. And Dave and I are talking about the looming auto workers strike in Detroit and how it's going to impact Utahns. And I don't see too many trucks on this list. I see a Cadillac Fleetwood, but that looks like I think that was a sedan. I see is it a Cadillac Cimarron? I remember that. I think somebody in my family probably tootled around one of those. A Ford Explorer, actually, in 1995, listed as one of the. It says, how could the best-selling passenger vehicle in America, 14 years running, the mother of all mom-mobiles, the beloved Suburban, schlepper of millions, wind up on this list? the Firestone tire controversy, they say set that aside. In its success, the Ford Explorer is responsible for setting this country on a spiral of vehicular obesity that we are still contending with today. Anyways, they put it on in a spotlight of some of the worst vehicles to own. But according to Dave's list here, we love us some SUVs and trucks here in Utah.
I was completely and totally shocked, Debbie, when I looked at this. So the Utah State Tax Commission has a list, and it's a Excel spreadsheet, and they break it down, every new vehicle that is purchased, and it goes back several years. I'm just looking back at 2022. They have 2023, but this gives us the full look of what was going on in 2022. They break it down by every county and how many cars were purchased in each county. They have it broken down by every car dealership. They have it every make and model. It's a comprehensive list, but the thing that stood out to me more than anything was how many vehicles were purchased that fell under the light truck, and an SUV falls under the light truck category. So when I talk about that, it's SUVs and trucks. When a heavy truck is like the industrial stuff. They're not talking about those.
Dave, I know.
Well, not everyone knows what a light truck is. I didn't. I had to Google it. I'm like, does an SUV qualify as a light truck?
He's like drawing me a picture of what a
Trust
light
me,
truck is.
what I am explaining is because I needed to look it up. I'm not trying to mansplain. She's sensitive.
Sorry, I know. Right? Go ahead. I am curious.
Now can I even say light truck without you getting offended?
Okay, go ahead.
The number of light trucks, so the SUVs and trucks that have been purchased in Utah just last year, it was a light truck or SUV 83% of the time. If you're buying a new vehicle, you're buying an SUV or a truck. That is it.
In Utah.
In Utah. Now, passenger vehicles, again, there's the remaining 17%, but only 21,000 passenger vehicles were sold last year. 107,000 were the light truck versions. I mean, isn't that staggering?
Yeah. Shocking. Shocking in a way, because when you put it in that context and you put a number to it, I was like, that is a lot of people spending a lot of money on really big vehicles. You're my neighbors. You're the people I share the road with every single day. And I sense it when y'all are coming up behind me and I'm in my sedan and you speed past me in your light truck. There's a lot of these cars. I guess I'm shocked at how few hybrids, EVs, maybe more gas-efficient cars like a sedan that gets 25, 26, maybe 30 miles to the gallon like the Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
Are sold compared to these gas-guzzling trucks. And Dave and I are talking about this because Detroit is on the verge of a massive auto workers strike, where 150,000 auto workers are threatening to walk off the job tomorrow night just before midnight. And if that happens and production halts, well, it's going to be tough potentially, to buy a new vehicle, at least at some point if the strike is prolonged.
Yeah, and as we're looking through, because as we went to a live report in Detroit, what Ford and GMC were revealing is their plans, their new hybrids, the plug-in hybrids, the electric vehicles, and even the electric trucks. So this is what they're rolling out right now. But when you look in Utah, the majority of vehicles that are being purchased, the vast majority are still gasoline or diesel vehicles.
Not EVs.
No, in fact, if you look between the EVs, if you're looking at just EV, like straight EV, it's only about 6% of the new vehicles purchased.
Wow.
So if you include EV and the hybrid, then it jumps up to about 13%. But
so a hybrid is juice, right? And it can plug in, but it doesn't have to plug in.
Yeah, the plug-in hybrids are a little bit newer. So what they'll do is the first 30 or 40 maybe 50 miles of your trip will be completely electric.
Okay.
And then if you go beyond that, then it switches over and starts using the gasoline. So that's the plug-in hybrid. And those are becoming very popular as well.
But not that popular in Utah.
Yeah, nevertheless, only 13% of the new cars sold in Utah are either electric or hybrid. And the vast majority of vehicles purchased overall are SUVs and trucks. Now, in part, why this stands out to me is we can't hardly go a day, I'm sure, without talking about gas prices and how obscene they are. I was driving around yesterday snapping photos. $4.40, $4.39. That's what it was a gallon in Kaysville and in Layton. $4.40, and we complain about it, but what cars are we driving? The gas guzzlers.
How much do these things cost?
On average, and this is between trucks, SUVs, and passenger cars, the average cost for a new vehicle is $48,000 right now.
And that's both SUVs and trucks, like kind of a
SUVs, trucks, and passenger vehicles.
Oh.
Now, if you look at just SUVs and trucks, then it jumps up even higher.
Now, you have a truck, not brand new.
Debbie, it's a 2001 Silverado. It barely even qualifies as a functioning vehicle. But yes, okay, I get it. I have a quote-unquote truck.
Okay.
It's got 274,000 miles on it.
Is it a light truck? Okay. Could you live without it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like having it. It's nice to be able to throw stuff in the back, haul it off to the dump. That's nice. But, no, I definitely could live without it.
So driven, I talked about the Blazer. I couldn't get rid of that quick enough after I bought it. I drove a Mazda van. I can't remember the name of it.
A Mazda M3.
MP5? MP3? I don't know. It had an
well,
M.
That's
it had
how
a
you
couple
listen to your
M's.
music. I had a Mazda MP3 iPod.
I think I had a 1995 or 93 Ford Explorer for a while. And then a Suburban. A big Suburban. You know,
people mover.
I think we bought that thing used in 2004 or something. I don't know. It's a 2004. We bought it used in 2006. We had an F-150. The back seat wasn't big enough to fit the kids in, and they said, "Look, we're like 6 feet tall now. Do you mind?" It was like that little tiny back seat.
No, you get club cab. You haven't earned crew cab. Fold up like a pretzel.
So I feel like I have a lot of experience driving. And we also had a Dodge Diesel back in the day I couldn't even get out of. I needed a ladder to climb out of that thing when I was 6 months pregnant with our first child.
Sounds amazing.
I feel like I've had experience driving both. And you know what I like is the gas efficiency with the sedan compared to the gas guzzling of an SUV and a truck. But you all love your trucks and your SUVs. You bought almost 130,000 of them in Utah last year. Way to go.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top local story this hour. A state judge has ruled that Utah government officials should be able to access medical records of 2 trans student athletes. That's part of a lawsuit against the plaintiffs' school districts to join the girls' sports teams. That information includes the teens' mental health documents, medication history, and when they started puberty. It will only be available to defense lawyers in the case. It looks like Arizona might follow Utah's example in challenging the creation of a new national monument. The Republican president of Arizona State Senate says he's preparing to sue the Biden administration over the recently created Grand Canyon Area National Monument. He says it's a misuse of the president's authority under the Antiquities Act.
It says that they have to reserve the smallest area compatible, quote, with the proper care and management of the objects to be protected. That's not happening.
Warren Peterson said he plans to file his lawsuit by the end of the year or early next. Utah's Bears Ears lawsuit was thrown out in August, but the state quickly filed an appeal in federal court. Our top national monument this hour, or national story, I should say, this hour from ABC News. Moroccan officials are working today to continue the recovery process in the city of Marrakesh removing rubble and working to bring down the more than 10,000 people still believed to be missing since the quake. ABC's Tom Soufi Burridge is in Marrakesh with more.
Here in Morocco, there is an acceptance, I think, that barring any miracles, the rescue operation is now over, sadly, and this is more of a recovery effort or a relief effort, crucially, into those mountainous areas near to Marrakesh. Now, these are small villages right up in remote areas, children up in those areas, people without their homes anymore, or they just don't feel safe to go back into their homes.
And that's Tom Soufi Burridge in Morocco. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up 20 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ is up 78. And our KSL weather looks like possibility of a thunderstorm today, but clearing up tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:33.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
Hey guys, are you over 30? Let's talk about testosterone and performance. Your testosterone can decline at an average of 1% to 2% a year after you turn 30. And Revive Men's Health have been experts at treating men with low testosterone and ED since 2011. We're the clinic guys come to when their current treatment isn't working, they have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their performance. We love what we do and the patients we care for. You can ask our patients. We did, and we have a 99% patient satisfaction rate this year. Our patients even tell us we're more affordable than their insurance deductibles and copays. Let's get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. That's what we do, and we do it really well. Book your T-check and exam today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or send us a private message at revivemenshealth.com.
Imagine how inconvenient your life would be without power. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, and no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have the power when you need it most. Generac generators automatically provide backup after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Schedule a free quote today with Genco Generators, your premier Generac service dealer in Utah. Call 801-295-0872 or online at gencogenerators.net.
Power outages happen year-round and they're always unexpected. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and some people have medical equipment that needs to stay on, or maybe you don't want the hundreds of dollars of food in the freezer to spoil. Regardless of the reasons, Any Hour Services can help with a backup generator. Now, a lot of people think that backup generators cost thousands of dollars, but we have packages that'll run the essentials and start at less than $2,500. That includes the generator, the connections from the generator to the house, and the installation. We also carry and install larger generators that can run the whole house and kick on automatically when the power goes out. Of course, those cost more, but if you call right now, you can save $1,000 on any standby generator purchase over 9,000 watts. A licensed electrician from Any Hour Services will walk you through the process and show you what options are available. And if you need it, we have flexible financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. To schedule a free estimate, call Any Hour Services today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The UACPA supports certified professional accountants in Utah through ongoing professional education and leadership development for an ever-changing financial world. Find a CPA at uacpa.org.
Join KSL News Radio's Jeff Kaplan on Thursday from 4 till 8 at the Mill Creek Business Market at Mill Creek Common. Join over 40 local businesses at the Mill Creek Business Market and enjoy fresh cut flowers, haircuts, Thai food, skincare products, henna tattoos, jewelry, dog treats and toys, boba, and more. There'll be skating, food trucks, and free twisted sugar drinks and cookies for the first 100 attendees. Courtesy of U.S. Bank. It's KSL in your community in Mill Creek with KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Valley Freeway traffic rolling along. We still have a couple of side street crashes in the clearing stages. One at 5th East, about 3400 South, and another involving a motorcycle or bike at 300 South at about 350 East. Renew your smile with Grandpa's Dental. Grandpa's Dental offers cosmetic and routine dentistry. Visit grandpasdental.com for a location near you. That's grandpasdental.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we could see some scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Dry air moves in tomorrow. And today's high 83, 78 tomorrow, upper 80s by Sunday. And right now, mostly cloudy and 72 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage, stopping the stigma.
This month is Suicide Awareness Month, and in a significant move to address the escalating rise in suicide rates, one county in Utah, and maybe there are others as well, we're going to focus on Utah County right now, they passed a resolution declaring September as Promise to Live Month.
Which, when we're talking about stigma for a long time, and you and I have both been in the news business for a very, very long time, how differently things are treated and the way we treat suicide as opposed to 20 or 30 years ago when if there was a suicide, we almost never mentioned it because the idea was, well, if you talk about it, it'll get people thinking about it. We've changed as a society. Now we have open and honest conversations. And I think instead of ignoring it, which is kind of what it seemed like we were doing in the past several decades, we are now addressing it head on, and I think that is healthy.
Amelia Powers Gardner is a Utah County Commissioner. Good morning, Amelia.
Good morning. How are you guys this morning?
Good. And this does sound hopeful in such a dark conversation that we could be. But this does sound like the Utah County Commission is involved. There's been a resolution that's been passed. What does it mean?
So the commission, as commissioners, it's funny when you take on a title like commissioner, it never supersedes the title of mother or the title of father. And as I put forth this resolution, each one of us commissioners could talk about how we've been touched by someone in our life who is either there's been tragically a suicide or at least suicidal ideation, and how important it is for people to know how much they are valued and that there are resources for them. And so we as a commission, when I proposed this resolution, it was absolutely unanimous that, hey, we want anyone who struggles with depression or suicidal ideation to know that they have value, that we see the value in them and we want them to see the value in themselves. And so this resolution was such an easy thing for us to say, let's in Utah County declare September Promise to Live Month with the idea that we want every person to take a pledge, to make a promise to live, to say that if you ever feel like you want to take your life, that promise us you'll at least reach out to one of the resources that's available and recognize that the community is here for you. And that's where the Promise to Live organization came in with the promisetolive.org, where you can in 30 seconds go to that website, make the promise yourself that if you ever need to seek help, that you will. The resources are right there on the website, and then share that on social media. Just like you're saying, this is what's so important is for us to talk about it. And our hope in making this resolution was that it would get people like you two talking about it on the radio so that every one of your listeners know that there's resources available and that the best thing you can do is talk about it so that people can get the help they need.
Amelia, thank you. Let's bring in Brandy Vega. She's the founder of Promise to Live. Good morning, Brandy.
Good morning.
When people go to that website, Promise to Live website, what will they find?
Well, they find a place to make a promise. You know, that's what the studies show. It, just like Amelia said, every 40 seconds we're losing somebody to suicide. So we're like, hey, we all know there's a problem, but what can we do? And when I found myself in a dire situation of almost losing a child, it was hard to know what resources were available. So we're asking people to make the promise, to share the promise, because when you share it, you become the safe place. But on the website, you can just click, I promise. If I'm ever in a dark place, I will reach out to someone, friend, family member, 988. We want people to know about 988. It's been out a year, and a new study says only 18% of people know about it.
Which is the hotline people can call if they find themselves in a situation where they need that help.
Yeah, 24/7 national hotline for anyone who's struggling with mental health, suicide, addiction. If you're in a bad spot, you can call or text 988. So we're trying to share that message. We're letting them know about incredible resources like NAMI, AFSP, Live On, JED. I mean, there's so many great resources, but people don't know until they need them, and then sometimes it's a little tricky to find. And part of the premise behind it is sometimes we don't love ourselves enough to want to stay, but if we promise somebody else, studies show we're up to 60% more likely to keep a promise we make to somebody else ahead of time. We feel like that's pretty darn significant, and it's a simple thing to do.
Brandy, part of your story that was so sobering to me was you've shared this with us in the past, but your daughter attempted suicide. It's such
Right.
a young age, at 12 and at age 14. How is that journey going?
Yeah. And when you sit there and you look at someone that you love and you're not sure if they're going to make it, it kind of reshifts your balance. And, you know, Dave, I'm one of the lucky ones. I actually got a second chance with my kid. I work with people every day who never got that chance. And that's why we do it, because there's just too many people. And it's all ages. You know, I was talking with the Fraternal Order of Police last year. We lost a 7-year-old in the state of Utah, is what they told me, to suicide. And I just feel like we have to do something. And this is sort of my way personally of paying it forward, is just we have to educate. And I'm so thankful to Amelia and Utah County for saying, hey, let's do something about it. Let's be part of the solution and be proactive.
Amelia Powers Gardner, Utah County Commissioner, thank you for waiting on the line and talking to us about this and what Utah County Commission has decided to do in terms of helping people who may be dealing with suicide ideation, and also Brandy Vega, founder of Promise to Live. Thank you, Brandy, for once again joining us and reminding us how important it is that people not only make that promise, but that we also post that promise to our social media. Dave, you got the website pulled up there. I'm going to post it a little later after the show. I'm going to post it to my KSL News Radio Facebook page, because I want to be that safe space for my Facebook friends.
Yeah, the website is promise, the number 2, so promisetolive.org. And this is what the promise says. I promise that if I am ever feeling sad, depressed, hopeless, or suicidal, I will reach out to a friend, family member, or a trusted resource, or call or text 988.
We've got breaking news, and Boyd Matheson just walked into studio and is sitting down with breaking news. You okay over there? The chair slipped out from under him. He just whispered what it is in my ear, but I'll let you do the honors, Boyd Matheson, now. We got to get your microphone on. Just a moment. I think we got it working, Boyd. Go ahead.
No,
not yet. How we doing there in the control room?
We've got 5 microphones in the house, so
go ahead.
bear with me. Everything's on.
Boyd, come over to my microphone. Boyd's coming over to my microphone to announce breaking news. Here we go. Here you go, Boyd. Take my mic.
Senator Mitt Romney just released a message on X, formerly known as Twitter, indicating that he will not be running for re-election in 2024. He will serve out his term until January of 2025. And, of course, this has great implications here in the state of Utah, as Senator Mitt Romney declares that he will not run for re-election next year.
Boyd Matheson, thank you. Yeah, that is a huge news, and we'll go to break and dissect this a little bit. Thanks, Boyd, for that breaking news. But again, as you heard Boyd just report, that Mitt Romney will not seek a second term in the Senate.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-new station in the morning?
It's this one, weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
If you own or operate a business, whether it's a local operation or a global corporation, partnering with Bank of America could be your smartest move. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll enjoy exclusive digital tools, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Position your business to capitalize on opportunity in a moment's notice. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
At Shields, we know good things happen when preparation meets opportunity, which means during the season, the only element of the hunt we can actually control is the work we put in and the gear we trust. So stop by the Shields sale event September 9th through the 17th and save on brands you can trust, like Sitka, Lucky Duck, Benelli, and select Shields Outfitters gear. Our Shields experts are ready to prepare you for success on your next upland and waterfowl adventure. Shields, earn your moment.
Hey guys, Alex and Scott for Alpine Home Medical, bringing wellness home for so long to so many people, and now they're bringing it also to the people in Tooele. Yes, a brand new store in Tooele. They're so excited to announce for Alpine Home Medical. If you go to alpinehomemedical.com, you can see all of the different variety of so many products that they can offer you for that in-home health experience. And Scott, we've been talking about this and singing their praises for years, and there's a reason we do it.
Well, we do it because they really take great care of you. I mean, it can be intimidating. You don't know what to get. You don't know how it fits. And you walk in the store, and from the minute you walk in the store, they're going to take care of you. They're going to sit you down. They're going to go through all of the insurance, everything, how much going to cost you to get all of this taken care of. But then they're going to fit you right, whatever it might be. And once you've been fitted and everything works, then you go home, and guess what? They're going to take care of you after you get home as well.
Lift chairs, CPAP supplies, whether or not you want to take care of that person who needs more safety in the bathroom, whatever it is, Alpine Home Medical is going to help you out. alpinehomemedical.com. Just say you heard it from Alex and Scott. alpinehomemedical.com.
What's the biggest threat to your retirement savings today? Believe it or not, it's taxes. That's right, you could be paying a lot more taxes in retirement than you realize. Learn more in a free report, 3 retirement tax traps that could wipe out your savings. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. This free report reveals how you could avoid 3 retirement tax traps that could needlessly cost you tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To get this free report, call 801-896-9622. Don't needlessly overpay your taxes in retirement. Get this free report now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. Executive Director Stacy Culp joins us with more.
Alzheimer's disease is arguably the most tragic and challenging health issue facing America today. It is the 7th leading cause of death and the only major disease without a prevention or cure. For 34,000 Utahns living with Alzheimer's, as well as the 99,000 loved ones who provide unpaid care for them, you don't have to face this disease alone. The Alzheimer's Association is an essential resource, providing valuable information, programs, and services, all at no charge to Utah families. In addition, the association is the world's leading nonprofit funder of research to find a cure. To learn more about Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, go to alz.org or call our free helpline at 800-272-3900. It is staffed around the clock with trained professionals who can answer questions about the disease, direct you to resources in your community, and help you better navigate the challenges that Alzheimer's and related dementias pose. The Alzheimer's Association is here for you.
Want to have a greater impact? Become a corporate partner of the Alzheimer's Association and help mobilize, educate, and innovate to end this deadly disease. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Well, this news has just blown up across the nation. U.S. Senator Mitt Romney, of course from Utah, announcing that he will not seek a second term in the United States Senate. We just learned that moments ago from our very own Boyd Matheson of Inside Sources.
And this is big news because we did see a recent poll that said that the majority of Utahns would either definitely or want to see Mitt Romney run for a second term.
Have you seen anything on social media from Senator Romney yet?
Yeah, this was posted just minutes ago from Senator Romney's X page, formerly Twitter. This is what it says. My message to Utahns on my Senate re-election plan. This is about 2.5 minutes long, and I'll just play. This is the first time we've heard it, and this is the first time that you've heard it. This is the message from Senator Mitt Romney.
You know, contrary to a lot of expectations, I enjoy my work in the Senate a good deal. The last few years have been particularly productive as I was able to help lead and negotiate the bipartisan infrastructure law, a comprehensive China strategy process, religious liberty protections, a compromised gun safety law, the Electoral Count Act reform, and emergency COVID relief funding. I was also able to help secure key Utah priorities, including funding for Hill Air Force Base and its program to modernize our nuclear deterrent, as well as funding for wildfire prevention, water infrastructure, rural broadband, removal of uranium tailings from Moab, expansion and restoration of our highway and transit infrastructure, and federal studies to save the Great Salt Lake. I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders. They're the ones that need to make the decisions that will shape the world they will be living in. Now, we face critical challenges: mounting national debt, climate change, and the ambitious authoritarians of Russia and China. Neither President Biden nor former President Trump are leading their party to confront those issues. On deficits and debt, both men refuse to address entitlements, even though they know that this represents 2/3 of federal spending. Donald Trump calls global warming a hoax, and President Biden offers feel-good solutions that make no difference to the global climate. On China, President Biden underinvests in the military, and President Trump underinvests in our alliances. Political motivations too often impede the solutions that these challenges demand. The next generation of leaders must take America to the next stage of global leadership. While I'm not running for re-election, I'm not retiring from the fight. I'll be your United States Senator until January of 2025. I will keep working on these and other issues, and I'll advance our state's numerous priorities. I look forward to working with you and with folks across our state and nation in that endeavor. It really is a profound honor to serve Utah and the country, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so.
That was Senator Mitt Romney, a video that was posted to Twitter, X now. Dave, when was that posted?
It was 9 minutes ago.
Announcing that he will not seek a second term in the United States Senate. Boyd Matheson, back in studio. You broke the news to our listeners about 10 minutes ago. You must have just captured it as it was being posted. He not only talks about that he feels as though it's time to pass the baton to a younger generation, that he would be in his mid-80s if he were reelected and served out a second term, but that also both President Trump and President Biden share some blame in their politicking and what's going on the world stage.
Yeah, I thought it was a very powerful way to end, make that announcement that he wouldn't be running for re-election and saying, look, here's some of the things that we've done. Here's progress that we've made, progress both from a Republican perspective, from a bipartisan perspective, and from an American perspective. And I think that was an important part, I think, of what he was trying to do in the United States Senate. Obviously, that passing of the baton, that was a clear signal to both President Biden and to President Trump. I think I found that part especially fascinating. Equal opportunity offender, he called out both sides. And he also called out both to say, look, we shouldn't be holding on to power just because we can hold on to power. One of the things that we often hear in Washington is Washington saying, well, just trust us, trust us. We're the smart people, trust us. And I think what Senator Romney is showing right here is that we should trust the American people. And he trusts that there are other leaders out there that can do the job.
I felt that was very classy of him to put that in that way that, look, I am going to be in my mid-80s if I do get reelected a second term, but it is time now to pass the baton to a younger generation of leaders. That was very, very classy in my view.
One of his lines that stood out to me was political alliances impede progress.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've appreciated about Senator Romney is it always has felt that whether you agree with his decisions or not, that he was going to live by those decisions no matter what the political ramifications have been.
Yeah.
And he's been certainly attacked in many ways for his decisions he's made to impeach Donald Trump twice. With some of his compromises through legislation, he's been criticized for those as well. But I've always felt that Senator Romney has always followed what he believes to be right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that he'll be an interesting part of the conversation next year. Even though he won't be running for re-election, I think he will be part of that conversation. That very comment I thought was also intriguing, Dave, in his saying that these alliances impede progress. They stop us from doing what's best for the country. Many have speculated, could he be part of a third-party candidacy for the presidency? We know some of the chatter that's going on out there. I don't think he would be on that ticket per se, but could he be part of that conversation? I think that's an interesting space for Senator Romney to be playing in. He clearly has a voice. He's clearly shown it can be done. And so that could be an interesting part of that moving into the presidential election cycle.
How rare is it for a senator to retire after just one term?
Pretty rare. We re-elect incumbents at a rate of about 94% in this country, and especially in the Senate where you're only running every 6 years, it's very easy to just coast along after one term, two term, three term. And so the fact that he's willing to do that, I think so important to mention. I think what Senator Romney is proving is the fallacy of the indispensable and the irreplaceable. And this goes all the way back to George Washington, who recognized it, who gave power back. And I think Senator Romney's saying, look, I'm replaceable. I'm a senator. I've done a job. I've made a difference. I've left a legacy, and now I get to go home.
With just seconds left here in the show, and then, of course, Maria Chaleos will have full coverage of this. You look at Senator Romney, who was, while he was a freshman senator, was never really looked at as a freshman senator. He came in with a ton of clout and a big name that people back in Washington, D.C. respected. You look at him now announcing he's not going to be running for a second term, and also Representative Chris Stewart. In just a matter of hours, will no longer be a congressman representing Utah. He's resigning.
Yeah, that's right. And he'll be joining us at 1 o'clock today to talk about his last 48 hours in our nation's capital, including a lot of votes, a meeting with Speaker McCarthy. He'll join us right at the top of the 1 o'clock hour.
He's been back there for 10 years now. Two big losses for Utah.
This will impact the state. This definitely will impact the state.
Boyd Matheson, Inside Sources today from 1 to 3. Thanks, Boyd.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon. This is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story. Breaking news. We have just learned that Utah Senator Mitt Romney is not running for re-election. Joining us live with what we know so far is KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts. Lindsay?
Maria, this is the news we've really all been waiting for. Romney making the announcement just in the last half hour on Twitter.
While I'm not running for re-election, I'm not retiring from the fight. I'll be your United States Senator until January of 2025. I will keep working on these and other issues, and I'll advance our state's numerous priorities.
Now, we don't know exactly what that means, but Romney in this video on Twitter touted that he's been productive on infrastructure with China, with religious liberty protection, some of his other accomplishments, also touting some of the stuff he's done for Utah, funding for Air Force Base, wildfires, water infrastructure.
At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
And that is the reason Romney's citing he's not running for re-election. Now the questions begin, Maria, about who will replace him. Reporting live, Lindsay Aerts, KSL News Radio.
Meanwhile, Senator Romney and 5 other Republican senators introduced legislation today that would raise the minimum wage to $11 an hour.
It's called Higher Wages for American Workers Act. The bill not only aims to slowly raise the minimum wage to $11, but it would require businesses to use E-Verify to make sure those pay raises only only go to legal employees. In a news release, Romney states the cost of living continues to rise, but the federal minimum wage has not increased in over 10 years. He says using E-Verify would keep the higher wages for American workers and eliminate a major reason for illegal immigration. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
Staying in the nation's capital, reactions are pouring in over House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's decision to open an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Many people are calling back on McCarthy's promises from 2019, saying he would not open up an impeachment inquiry without a floor vote.
Back in 2019, during the first Trump impeachment, Nancy Pelosi announced that Trump impeachment inquiry in a similar fashion, directing the various House committees that were investigating former President Trump to essentially keep doing what they were doing. That is what Speaker McCarthy did yesterday. And back in 2019, McCarthy, when he was the top Republican in the House, balked at that move. He said it was out of step with the precedent of modern impeachment.
That is ABC's Jay O'Brien reporting. Other local stories KSL is following. Both getting a house and renting in Utah could even get harder in the near future. KSL News Radio's Adam Small explains why.
According to data from the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute, 9 out of 10 renters can't afford the median priced Utah home, which as of last month sat at about $490,000. And Kempsey Gardner Senior Research Fellow and Scholar Deon Eskich says now building permits are taking a huge dip, which could cause more problems for an already dwindling supply.
Builders basically cannot finance these projects unless they dramatically increase prices of rent, so they're not building.
While housing prices took a slight dip this year, experts think those are going to start climbing again too. That combined with 7+% interest rates is making homeownership, as Eskich put it,
a fading dream.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The nearly 2-week-long manhunt for escaped murderer Danilo Cavalcante is over. Officials say they found him in a wooded area in Pennsylvania using heat-sensing technology. ABC's Trevor Alt on the scene says officers managed to capture the convict without a single shot fired.
This morning, around 6 or 7, as those storms finally moved out, they went back up in the air, turned on that thermal imaging. They were able to locate Cavalcante, so then they very slowly, without him noticing, they say, move in and finally use that canine officer to catch him off guard. He still tried to resist. That dog largely brought him down. The rest of the officers then swarmed in, and he was forcibly taken into custody.
Officials cut off Cavalcante's clothing after they captured and handcuffed him. Retired FBI agent Carl Schmay tells David Dujanovic officials do this to check for wounds and to verify the identity of the suspect.
Officers want to make sure that there's no weapons or any other items, like maybe like a handcuff key that he might have secreted somewhere that he could use to try to escape again.
Cavalcante fled Brazil because he was facing homicide charges. He was also convicted of killing his ex-girlfriend in the U.S. in 2021. West Valley City Police are looking for 2 men who robbed a subway at gunpoint. Officers say the 2 men entered the subway early in the morning 2 weeks ago at 5500 West and 3500 South. Officials say the 2 took off in a black Dodge Ram pickup truck with a bull bar in front. Police say to come forward if you have any information. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky Meese.
Good afternoon, Maria. We do have an accident in South Salt Lake, 3300 South at 900 West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Today, a final word from the 2nd District Congressman.
It's with a real heavy heart that I leave.
Representative Stewart joins Boyd Matheson today at 1:05. He'll talk about what's ahead as he steps down from the U.S. House. Exclusively on Inside Sources, today at 1:05 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and there are good things in the air. You can feel it, you can see it, you can experience it. Football, the kids are back in school. It's beginning to cool off a little bit. Fall is in the air, and a great place to go this fall for the best meal you've ever had. It's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Now let's talk about going up to the mountains where the leaves are just beginning to turn. It's going to be gorgeous. And at Hotel Park City, there's a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse waiting for you. So many things are going on in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, and there's a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse downtown for you as well at 275 South West Temple. That steak that you've been longing for, cooked to perfection, the perfect temperature, the side dishes, the desserts. They're at both locations of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. So call and make your reservations now. When Dee and I ate there the other night, it was so delicious, so good. That first bite, you're going to love it at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Imagine getting ahead of your irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and get ahead of your symptoms. Talk to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
If you want a heating and air company that uses third-party verification of their work, that is one of the highest rated on both Google and Yelp, then call At Your Service Pros at 801-YOUR-PRO.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top local story. We learned in the last half hour that Senator Mitt Romney will not run for re-election. We'll continue to follow that story for you throughout the day. KSL News Time 12:08. Growing concerns in parts of southern India after 2 people died from a rare virus.
India's southern state of Kerala shutting some schools, offices, and public transportation in an effort to stop the spread of the rare and deadly Nipah virus, already claiming the lives of 2 people. Another adult and child are infected in a hospital. Over 130 people have been tested for the virus, which is believed to be spread by contact with the fluids of infected bats, pigs, or people. This is the state's 4th outbreak of the virus since 2018. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News. At the foreign desk.
One organization is distancing itself from Drew Barrymore. There has been controversy over Barrymore restarting her talk show amid the Hollywood strikes.
The upcoming National Book Awards will no longer be hosted by Drew Barrymore. The National Book Foundation posted a statement on social media saying that in light of Barrymore resuming production of her namesake talk show, her invitation to host the awards has been rescinded, as their commitment is to ensure that the focus of the awards remains on celebrating writers and books. Basically, that Barrymore has become a distraction. They say they are grateful to Miss Barrymore and her team for their understanding.
ABC's Jason Nathanson reporting. Ballet West is looking for dancers to perform in the Nutcracker this year. Children's auditions ages 8 to 18 are open right now, including for the leading role of Clara. More information is on the Ballet West website. Doctors are set to meet with lawmakers this week about an ongoing drug shortage for cancer patients. The American Association for Cancer Research is out with an annual report highlighting improvements in the U.S. that it has made in reducing cancer deaths and advancing treatment. But doctors are calling for lawmakers to fix the ongoing cancer drug shortage and increase funding for cancer research. KSL News Time, 12:09. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Ricky Meese, we have some storm clouds out there. You seen some wet roads?
We do. It's kind of a gloomy day, and I have seen some light sprinkles, but nothing that's really been anything that's going to affect the drive. So that's the good news. You may need your wipers from time to time, but the roads are mostly dry. In fact, Valley Freeway traffic looking good. No accidents or problems there. We do have 2 surface street crashes, one at 33rd South and 9th West in South Salt Lake, and also one at 4th East and 1700 South for Salt Lake City drivers. Renew your smile with Grandpa's Dental. Grandpa's Dental offers cosmetic and routine dentistry. Visit grandpasdental.com for a location near you. That's grandpasdental.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A similar setup to yesterday. We'll go for a chance for storms in the mountains. 30% chance to see them in the valleys. 83 the high. 60 overnight, partly cloudy. 79 tomorrow, and mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy skies in downtown Salt Lake City. Right now, 72 degrees. Coming up on Utah's Noon News, Utah Senator Mitt Romney says he's not running for re-election now. The question turns to who will take his seat. You're listening to KSL News Radio on KSL, streaming at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything: parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever, no hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardie siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple: to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your T-check and exam today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit us at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Found your dream house, but not your dream rate? Make your purchase with a home loan from Cypress Credit Union. Refinance within 12 months if rates drop, and Cypress Credit Union will take care of the refinancing fees.
KSL News Time 12:14. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Senator Mitt Romney making the news official on Twitter. He will not seek re-election. He cited his age and said it's time for a new generation to take over. I'm KSL News Radio's Lindsay Ayers.
Second, experts think Utah home prices could start going up again in 2024. It's adding to the hurdles keeping thousands of residents from becoming homeowners. Third, traffic and weather together. Ricky?
We do have a lane blocked as you're traveling through South Salt Lake due to an accident at 3300 South and 9th West. Also a crash at 1700 South and 4th East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
83 with a chance for storms today. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, mostly cloudy skies, 72 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A meeting of the minds on Capitol Hill over artificial intelligence today and how to keep the rapidly growing technology safe.
The closed-door session brought together some of America's leading tech executives to educate senators about the risks and benefits of AI. Elon Musk says a regulatory agency should serve as a referee.
I think the consequences of AI going wrong are severe.
The Tesla and SpaceX CEO who last year bought Twitter says he worries about civilizational risk.
There is some chance that above zero that AI will kill us all. I think it's low, but there's some chance.
Members of both parties emerged from the summit to say it may soon be time for a new law. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News.
GOP Senator Mitt Romney announcing on a video release he will not seek re-election in 2024. The Utah senator says it's time for a new generation of leaders. Romney noted that he would be in his mid-80s if he sought another term. He made it about 30 miles after escaping a Pennsylvania prison nearly 2 weeks ago. But today, police captured convicted murderer Danilo Cavalcante. Pennsylvania Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says he was located hiding in some underbrush and that he tried to make a run for it again.
He continued to resist, but was forcibly taken into custody.
He is now being processed, police say, and taken into prison to serve his life sentence. Crews in Morocco digging and removing rubble following that massive earthquake. 10,000 people still missing. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge is in Marrakesh.
Here in Morocco, there is an acceptance, I think, that barring any miracles, the rescue operation is now over, sadly, and this is more of a recovery effort or a relief effort, crucially, into those mountainous areas near to Marrakesh. Now, these are small villages right up in remote areas. Children up in those areas, people without their homes anymore, or they just don't feel safe to go back into their homes.
You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. It is breaking news. We learned just minutes ago that Senator Romney says he will not seek re-election. Joining me now live on the KSL Newsline is Utah Republican Party Chair Robert Axson. Thank you for being with me. First of all, how much of a surprise is this for you?
It's certainly a surprise. I think people have been speculating one way or the other what Senator Romney was going to decide, and this has always been his decision to make, and I think we all have to respect and appreciate the decision that he's made.
What does this mean for the state of Utah when it comes to its representation in Washington, D.C.?
There's always the concern when somebody is no longer running for re-election that they're going to be somewhat of a lame duck and not be influential. I don't think that's the case here. Senator Romney certainly has a gravitas and expertise that he's nurtured through the years, and I think he'll continue to represent Utah over the next year and a half in the way that he has up to this point. He'll have the ability to articulate his priorities and his vision on a host of issues.
With the senator making the announcement this early, how does that help the party in bringing candidates in?
I think it's very beneficial, and I have to express my gratitude to the senator in making his intentions known this early in the process. I think it's to the benefit of folks who have thought about it or will now think about it to be able to prepare themselves and engage with voters and engage with their own idea of what they want to bring to the table. So I think it's good for the process. I think it's good for Utahns, and we should express appreciation to Senator Romney in allowing us to have that time.
Senator Romney spoke about how this would allow a new generation of representatives to step up. Is there somebody on your mind right now that maybe would be kind of the front runner for this position?
I don't know if I would say that there's anybody that's the front runner. There's certainly a couple of people who have been actively engaged in the race that they have good momentum going, both in Speaker Wilson, who's looking at this, and Mayor Trent Staggs, who's looking at this. So they've got momentum, but that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be space for others to jump in. But I'm glad you brought up that point of what Senator Romney said. Utah is the youngest state per capita, and I so appreciate that he recognizes the need for new generations of leadership. And you look around the country, there's nothing that we have against baby boomers or people in different generations, but at some point there's usually the exchange of that baton, and that generation has held on to the reins of power for quite a while. And it's time for, new ideas to come forward. And I think for Utah, with as young of a population as we have, this will be beneficial.
Senator also took the opportunity to talk about party alliance and how that is not working well in Congress, and it's keeping Congress from really doing the work of the people. What's your reaction to that?
I agree with him. I would prefer that people look at what the parties believe, because it's far more important for us to understand as Americans and as Utahns the principles of what we're fighting for and then adhere to those principles than it is just to adhere to the label. And so I would much prefer that Republicans across this state dive in and get to know our platform, get to know our policies and our principles, adhere to those, and then keep us committed to those. Don't just vote with us because we have an R. Vote with us because we're fighting for those principles that they believe in and will benefit their families.
All right. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, all the best to you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is your Utah Republican Party Chair Robert Axson. KSL News Time, 12:19. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
Crash-free, delay-free on the Valley freeways, including I-15 north and southbound. Now, it is a little busy. It may not be running at the total speed limit, but you are moving on the southbound side of I-15 between the South Interchange and 90th South. Not really sure what's going on there. I don't have anything reported as far as an accident or other issue. And what I thought was a crash in South Salt Lake is actually just center lanes blocked. You can still go around it. This is 33rd South at 9th West, but officers are definitely blocking a lane of travel. And then we have the crash at 1700 South and 400 East. Is your car due for some extra love? Burt Brothers is here for your vehicle's routine maintenance, all done by our ASE certified technicians. Burt Brothers, affordable, complete auto care done better. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, really nice in the temperature department. We go 83 today, chance for storms in the afternoon. 79 tomorrow, mostly sunny. We've bumped up Friday to 80 degrees, sunny skies, but most of Friday will be spent in the 70s. 84 on Saturday, sunny skies. We keep it sunny on Sunday, 87. Working into next week, Monday 86, partly cloudy. Tuesday of next week could be the start of a cold front. We'll go 77, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 72 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets at this hour. Pretty flat today with the Dow down by about 16 points. A complete update of your money news coming up next.
Lennox Technology and the people who stand behind it. That's what you could expect when you work with your local Lennox dealer. Call Climate Services. Your Lennox system. Your Lennox dealer. They are truly perfect together, working together season after season to maintain your home's ultimate comfort. For a limited time, get up to $1,500 in rebates, or qualified buyers make no payments, incur no interest for 6 months when financing a new Lennox system, plus receive up to $3,200 in federal tax credits. Working with Call Climate Services means you're choosing the best in the business. Call today at 801-298-4810, 801-298-4810, or visit online at callclimate.com. Callclimate.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Dealer license number 3582-345501.
Made to Shine. Real stories from Shane Company customers.
They were all there. My grandparents, all the cousins. I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. They were so proud. After the ceremony, my mom gave me a necklace with my birthstone. I wear it every day. Sometimes I even think it carries a secret superpower, that when I wear it, everything will be okay.
We carry the widest selection of handcrafted jewelry, made to help everybody shine bright. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at Mountain America Expo, Thursday, September 14th through Sunday, September 17th. Come see the new 2024 models and special closeout pricing on all 2023 models. Bring a can of food for the Utah Food Bank and get $1 off per can, up to half off adult admission. Unplug from distractions and plug into your family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
What is the biggest threat to your retirement savings today? Believe it or not, it's taxes. That's right. You could be paying a lot more taxes in retirement than you realize. Learn more in a free report. 3 retirement tax traps that could wipe out your savings. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. This free report reveals how you could avoid 3 retirement tax traps that could needlessly cost you tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To get this free report, call 801-896-9622. Don't needlessly overpay your taxes in retirement. Get this free report now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time 1225. Utah might be the happiest spot in the USA.
A recent Wallet Hub survey reviewed every state in the country, and Utah came out as the happiest of all 50. The annual survey takes a close look at factors like physical and emotional well-being, community, and work environments. Wallet Hub author Adam McCann says happiness is more than just a feeling. It relies on various aspects of a person's person's life. Utah is followed by Hawaii and Maryland, with West Virginia in last place. This isn't the first time Utah has stood out for happiness levels. Utah also snagged first place in this survey back in 2021. Kate Davis, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's money, high interest rates are dragging down the demand for mortgages. Applications for new home mortgages are 27% lower than a year ago. Demand for refinances is also down 31% from last year. Apple is unveiling a new generation of iPhones with the lineup that will boast better cameras, faster processors, and a price hike for the fanciest model. Apple has been trying to reverse a mild sales slump over the past 3 quarters. The new iPhone 15 will be in stores in a little over a week. It will feature a USB-C charging port to comply with European regulations. KSL Drives, Ford is doubling their production of the F-150 hybrid pickup. The car maker says they've been seeing lower than expected sales of all their electric cars. Ford says they expect sales of the F-150 V6 hybrid to go up by 20% during the 2024 model year. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by about 12 points, sitting at 34,634. S&P, it's up by 11. The NASDAQ up by 64 points. NASA astronaut Frank Rubio now holds the record for the longest U.S. spaceflight. Rubio surpassed the U.S. record of 355 days on Monday at the International Space Station. He arrived at the outpost last September with 2 Russians for a routine 6 months. Now, the trio will return to Earth later this month in a new capsule that was sent up empty for the ride home. By then, Rubio will have spent 371 days in space.
It's about to get real for the BYU Cougars.
To the end zone, touchdown!
This Saturday, the Cougs take on Arkansas from the powerhouse SEC Conference. Our special extended pregame coverage starts at noon with kickoff at 5:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
You know, for the last couple of weeks, I just kind of keep chuckling when I think about my SOTA weight loss journey. SOTA's SOTA, state-of-the-art weight loss, because it is. And the reason I've been chuckling is because often when you hear about a program, you start thinking, you know, does it work? Does it work? I can honestly say no one's ever asked me if SOTA weight loss works. Why? Because the results don't lie. I've lost 37 pounds. People can see it. They see the energy. They see what I'm able to do. And they don't want to know, does it work? They want to know, how does it work? And it works because you have your own nutritionist. You have one-on-one consultations. You get to the root cause. It's a really all points of the compass approach to emotional eating, your habits, getting the right nutrition to your body at the right time. And it's all so simple. And it works. The results don't lie. So you don't have to ask, does SOTA work? It works. The results don't lie. I'll tell you how it works. It works because it's an extraordinary group and it's impacting people all around the country. As I always say, when it comes to your SOTA weight loss journey, no time to lose, only time to win. I've been doing this for over 20 months now. Start winning with SOTA weight loss, SOTAweightloss.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Ricky, what's going on?
Well, a KSL traffic trooper helping me out with what was happening on southbound I-15, saying UHP was clearing the road, possibly of some kind of debris that we had there. And so that's why we had some southbound slowing on I-15 from the south interchange to 90th South. Now, the good news is all lanes of travel are open and the heavy and slow traffic has cleared. So we are back to a very good drive on all the Valley freeways, including north and southbound I-15 between Ogden and Provo. We still have crews working to clear an accident at 4th East, 1700 South. Looks like they've been able to open up the lanes of travel now at the intersection of 9th West and 3300 South in South Salt Lake. Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning is offering air conditioner tune-ups for only $59. Call 801-825-4500 to schedule today. A Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm but not hot today, 83 with a chance for thunderstorms by afternoon. Overnight lows in the low 60s. For tomorrow, 79, mostly sunny as drier air mixes into the state. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 73 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. St. George, not much warmer at 79 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top story this hour, and it is developing news. Utah Senator Mitt Romney making a big announcement online in the last hour saying he will not seek re-election. Joining me is KSL News Radio's Lindsay Ertz. Lindsay?
Yeah, Maria, Romney is citing his age.
At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Now, in the video, he touted all the ways in which he believes he's been productive in the Senate. He also says the current leaders aren't leading.
On China, President Biden underinvests in the military, and President Trump underinvests in our alliances. Political motivations too often impede the solutions that these challenges demand.
And he says it's time for the new leaders to move America forward. Now, Romney did not specify what his next move is, but says he's not retiring from fighting for issues both globally and in Utah. Reporting live, Lindsay Ertz, KSL News Radio.
We are already hearing reaction from local leadership about Senator Romney's announcement. Utah Governor Spencer Cox just shared a post on X saying, "Thank you, Senator Romney, for a lifetime of service to our state and country." Also on Senator Romney's agenda right now, he is among 6 Republican senators sponsoring new legislation aimed to raise the federal minimum wage while discouraging illegal immigration. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly reports.
If the Higher Wages for American Workers Act passes, it would give companies with more than 20 employees up to 4 years to raise the minimum wage to $11 an hour. A news release from Romney's office shows employers will also have to use E-Verify to make sure workers getting the higher wage are legal.
The legislation would also tie future minimum wage increases to inflation. Utah Governor Spencer Cox is holding meetings in New Hampshire this week. His role as the chair of the National Governors Association. One issue he hopes governors from around the country can agree on is the need to fix immigration policies.
We're trying to bring Republican governors and Democratic governors together. We've got a team of 8 governors, 4 R's and 4 D's, working on immigration, trying to find common ground, and we think we're making some progress.
Cox tells Utah's Morning News most everyone agrees it's important to secure the border and changes need to be made to fix illegal immigration. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy opening an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Republicans are seeking bank records from the president and his son Hunter. The White House denies any wrongdoing. Some Democrats criticize the impeachment inquiry, accusing Republicans of seeking revenge for the 2 impeachments of former President Donald Trump. The Pennsylvania prison escapee on the run for nearly 2 weeks has finally been captured.
No shots fired, no officers injured, but prison escapee Danilo Cavalcante didn't go into police custody peacefully. It took state police officers and a specialized Border Patrol tactical team with a dog.
The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in.
State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says Cavalcante was still armed with a rifle stolen from a homeowner earlier in the week. He was tired, desperate, and wearing an Eagles sweatshirt after being on the run for 13 days.
He did sustain a minor bite wound.
His life sentence for killing his ex-girlfriend now includes a long list of additional charges. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Utah State Fair is speaking out, sort of, about the death of a calf during a roping event. KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricardbell joins me live with that story. Hugo?
Maria, in a recently deleted Instagram post, the Utah State Fair wrote, "On behalf of everyone at the State Fair, we apologize profusely and are absolutely disgusted by this." This being the calf roping event that saw one of the calves killed in the arena after the rope around its neck snapped back. Senator Nate Bluin shared the State Fair's comment and added that Utah passed a bill this year that would forbid cities and counties from banning rodeos, which in his words would have prevented this sort of cruelty. I've reached out to Senator Bluin for comment, but I haven't heard back yet. Reporting live, Hugo Ricardbell, KSL News Radio.
Utah wildlife officials say close to 200 animals have been found illegally killed in the state over the past 6 weeks. Officials with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources are reminding hunters that they are responsible to make sure that they have the correct hunting license and know where they are allowed to hunt before heading out. Millions of mosquitoes released in Honduras last month could play a role in eliminating the world of deadly disease. ABC's Sherry Preston explains how.
Dengue fever affects as many as 400 million people in 130 countries every year. It is described as the worst kind of influenza imaginable. It has been nicknamed break-bone fever because it's so painful. Dengue is spread by mosquitoes, and now scientists are turning to mosquitoes for help in fighting it. These insects have been bred to carry bacteria that interrupt transmission of the disease. When they reproduce, they pass that bacteria to their offspring, hopefully reducing future outbreaks. 9 million of the newly bred mosquitoes were released into the air in Honduras last month. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
First look traffic. Let's find out what's happening on the roads with Ricky.
Looking pretty good on all the Valley freeways. We still have the cleanup of one accident, 400 East, 1700 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:36.
Start your day with all news in the morning. Then hear Dave and Dujanovic talk about the biggest stories from 9 to noon.
Property taxes in Utah have skyrocketed.
One tax that I cannot prepare for.
Breaking news, important talk, all morning on KSL News Radio.
They say you slow down as you get older, and it's true. But taking life a little slower here at Summit Vista has been incredibly rewarding. At my age, I know what I like, and it's all here. They call this a life plan community, and I'm liking the concept. I've always been a practical person, and now it's time to treat myself. At Summit Vista, I have a beautiful apartment. It's spacious and contemporary. It feels like me. I have all the independence I want, no more maintenance headaches, no more days spent cleaning. I eat delicious meals with my friends. The staff here feels like family. The socializing and amenities are endless. Frankly, anyone who says luxury living is overrated hasn't been to Summit Vista. I've rebooted my life, and I'm revisiting my younger self with the wisdom of an older woman. And I gotta tell you, feels pretty cool.
Experience retirement living at the top. Visit summitvista.com today.
Get Mr. Mag's Performance Missionary Package. 1 performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, and 1 pair of Echo or Johnston & Murphy shoes. Just $595.
Thank you for joining me for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top local story. Utah Governor Cox is already speaking out about Senator Mitt Romney's announcement that he will not run for re-election. He's thanking the senator for a lifetime of service to our state and our country. KSL News Time, 12:38.
Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Senator Mitt Romney making it official on X that he will not run for re-election. Joining me live is the host of Inside Sources, Boyd Matheson. And Boyd, was this a surprising announcement for you?
Not a surprising announcement.
A lot of speculation lately, right?
Yeah, there has been a lot of speculation about the senator and what his plans would be moving forward. Obviously, there's some great things that can be done in the United States Senate, and there's a whole lot of frustration happening in the United States Senate. And so I think the senator was really looking at, will this be just more frustration, or is there still a path to really do some good with his particular style and brand of politics? And I think in the end, he thought, you know what, I can make a difference in other places. And I actually commend him for that, because I think one of the things that we should ask every politician, anyone running for elected office, is how will they make a difference outside of office? Because if they can't answer that, then that means this will be the best job they ever have. Every decision will be tainted by holding on to that job or getting another political job in the process. And so I think that has freed Senator Romney to do a lot of things very differently. And I think as he weighed it out, I think he looked at it and thought, okay, there's other places where I can use my influence and my experience to do some good in the world.
What do you think about the timing of the announcement?
I think this is about the right timing. A lot of people were pressuring the senator to make a decision early in the year this year so that people could start lining up and things could be moving along. And again, I commend the senator. He didn't buy into any of that. He said, no, I can make a decision in the fall. And he said he would in the fall, and he's delivered on that. We know he has a book coming out shortly in early October. So that will be an interesting read and see how that weighed into his ultimate decision not to run for re-election.
Well, he didn't make the announcement without leveling some criticism at both parties.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely an equal opportunity offending moment. He was clearly pointing at the current occupant of the White House, Joe Biden, and the former occupant of the White House, former President Trump, and saying, look, they both failed to deal with fiscal issues. They both have failed in terms of policy issues relating to China. And so I think all of those were just simply things where he was saying, look, we need to do this differently as a country. And so what I think Senator Romney was really saying is, look, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, we need to rethink how we're looking at all offices, from the presidency to the Senate to the House to the governor's offices. We need to think differently about who we're sending into elected office, and are we sending the right people with the right skills to do the work, not of performative politics, but the work of policy for the American people. So I think it was actually a strong message. I'm sure he'll be criticized from both the left and the right for his message, but I think it's actually the right message in terms of where we are in our politics today.
Do you see an heir apparent?
Well, there's a lot of speculation. I think, to be very clear, had the senator chosen to run, he would have been formidable. And I don't see a path where he would have lost a re-election campaign in 2024. There are some that have been lining up. Speaker of the House Brad Wilson has had an exploratory committee going for some time. Trent Staggs, local mayor, has also tossed his hat into the ring. And I'm sure that over the next few hours, we will hear a lot of names bantied about who might be that. And let's remember, this election doesn't happen until November of 2024. The senator was very clear also to say, look, I will be the senator for the state of Utah until January of 2025. And so clearly he's not going to coast through the next year. Knowing Senator Romney, he has some things on his agenda that he wants to get done before he steps down.
Congressman Chris Stewart is joining you in just a few minutes.
That's correct. Yeah, he's a very interesting juxtaposition of the days today. Mitt Romney will have a little over a year left in his term in the Senate. Chris Stewart has about 48 hours left of his time in Congress, and so we'll have a chat with him about where he's been, some of the important accomplishments, and then what comes next.
All right. Thank you, Boyd.
Thanks, Maria.
Boyd Matheson will have Inside Sources beginning at 1. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. What's happening, Ricky?
We have a new accident in Davis County. This is eastbound Highway 193. That's also called 700 South at 2000 West in Davis County. And for those who are traveling in the Salt Lake City area, an accident still in the cleanup stages at 4th East and 1700 South. If you're out hitting the Valley freeways, you're good to go. No accidents, no delays on I-15, 215, I-80, or the 21st South Freeway. With over 30-plus specialties and multiple locations across Utah, Revere has you covered for all your health needs. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life. Online at reverehealth.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
How about a high of 83 today with a slight chance for a thunderstorm in the afternoon? Overnight lows will be cool in the low 60s. Some of us dip into the upper 50s. Tomorrow, 79, mostly sunny as drier air gets on in here. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy skies, 73 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Utah's Noon News, it's anyone's guess who will enter the race to replace Senator Mitt Romney now that we know that he will not run for another term. On KSL, streaming online at kslnewsradio.com and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
As the weather turns colder, this is when you need to get those new windows. So call Advanced Window Products. They'll replace your single-pane, rickety old windows with stylish, state-of-the-art double-pane windows with precision frames. You pick the style and color. They're custom-made right here in Salt Lake City. This company is so Utah. It's run by two guys who grew up here, Jake Weber and Utes defensive star Nate Orchard, the mayor of Sacktown with 7 NFL seasons under his belt. Great guys, great company building high-quality windows for 37 years. Unlike other companies, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. No middleman. There's Jake, Nate, and their team, and there's you. Saving on the highest quality windows. Right now, before winter, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more, and they offer 60 months, 0% financing. So call Advanced Window Products now. You could have stylish new windows in 8 weeks. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100 or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Watch parties aren't what they used to be.
Welcome to today's matinee.
Ever since we got Xfinity, my little sister and her friends can easily stream all their favorite stuff.
We'll start with 2 episodes of Top Chef, then Chopped.
When I was a kid, we'd worry about buffering. Now they just worry about what's on the charcuterie board.
Enjoy these fine meats and cheeses.
These are just cut up hot dogs and spray cheese.
Indeed.
The best way to stream your favorites is on the Xfinity 10G network.
Now through September 21st, get gig internet on the Xfinity 10G network made for streaming for $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile. There's no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Plus, add Now TV with Peacock Premium, a $5.99 a month value included at no extra cost for just $20 a month. Switch today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile and Now TV require Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary. Stream Top Chef on Peacock.
What's the biggest threat to your retirement savings today? Believe it or not, it's taxes. That's right, you could be paying a lot more taxes in retirement than you realize. Learn more in a free report, 3 retirement tax traps that could wipe out your savings. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. This free report reveals how you could avoid 3 retirement tax traps that could needlessly cost you tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To get this free report, call 801-896-9622. Don't needlessly overpay your taxes in retirement. Get this free report now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
KSL News Time, 1246. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
experts think housing prices could start going up again in 2024, adding to the list of hurdles keeping thousands of Utahns from breaking out of the rental market. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Senator Romney says he will not seek a second term. He shared an announcement on X today saying it's time for a new generation of leaders to step forward. Third, traffic and weather together. Ricky?
Freeway traffic rolling along in the valley. We do have an accident. This is in Davis County, eastbound SR 193 at 2000 West. Looks like all vehicles are out of traffic on the right shoulder. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Weak low pressure system passing to the north. That could kick off a couple of storms this afternoon. I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 73 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories from ABC News.
After serving as senator in Utah, Mitt Romney today announcing he's not seeking re-election in 2024. In a video, Romney says it's time for him to retire from Congress.
I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Romney would have also faced several challenges for his seat in the GOP primary race. Pennsylvania authorities have captured the convicted murderer who escaped the Chester County prison almost 2 weeks ago. Danilo Cavalcante was located, police say, hiding in underbrush after a massive manhunt. A new combo COVID and flu shot could be on the way to review. Moderna says it's working on the double dose. A merger for 2 pro teams in the rapidly growing sport of U.S. pickleball. Major League Pickleball and PPA Tour will come together to form a new team with a $50 million investment to go along with it. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth, and it's news that will make elections next November interesting. Senator Mitt Romney says he is not running for another term. Joining me live is KSL at Night host and executive director of Count My Vote, Taylor Morgan. Taylor, thanks for being with me. And so far, who's come forward and said that they will run?
Well, Maria, I expect that in the coming days, we will have many, many more names to talk about. As of right now, we know that House Speaker Brad Wilson is in this race for the U.S. Senate seat. He declared his candidacy. He has been raising money, and he has been campaigning for this seat in the U.S. Senate. So certainly Brad Wilson looks to be, at least at this point in time, the front runner. Also, Trent Staggs, Riverton mayor, is announced that he is in the race. And again, Maria, everything has changed now that Senator Mitt Romney is not running again. And in any kind of an open seat, as we saw with the Chris Stewart retirement, it is going to be a crowded field.
Anyone behind the scenes that you think might come forward?
It's a really good question. One of the things that I am asking around about today is, has the 2nd District, the Republican primary in the 2nd District special election in which Celeste Malloy won, the shift of power away from Wasatch Front urban voters toward more southern Utah, rural Republican voters really has intrigued me and many others in Utah politics. Maria, I look for many rural voices, rural members of the legislature, southern Utah legislators to jump in this U.S. Senate seat so that they can give those rural voters that voice that they really, really have been seeking for so long, and now just recently won in Celeste Moy, and they feel emboldened.
All right, Taylor, thanks for your perspective this afternoon.
Thanks, Maria.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is KSL at Night host and Executive Director of Count My Vote, Taylor Morgan. KSL News Time, 12:49, traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Let's check in again with Ricky Meese.
You're good to go on the Valley freeways. We do have an accident in Davis County. This is actually in the Syracuse area, eastbound Highway 193 at 2000 West. Now, I've seen a lot of heavy and slow traffic, particularly on the eastbound side of 33rd South between 9th West and about State Street. And I'm just now getting information off Twitter that South Salt Lake PD has posted that the traffic lights at 33rd South and West Temple are flashing red. There are repair workers at the scene, but it is causing a lot of congestion on 33rd South between 9th West and State. If you can avoid the area, you may want to consider doing so. Is your car due for some extra love? Burt Brothers is here for your vehicle's routine maintenance, all done by our ASE certified technicians. Burt Brothers, affordable, complete auto care, done better. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts out with a very slight chance to see an afternoon storm today, 83. 79 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Goes to 80 on Friday, sunny skies. High pressure still in control Saturday and Sunday. Mid and upper 80s with clear skies. We go 86 and partly cloudy for your Monday. And then how about next Tuesday? Partly cloudy, 77 with some cooler air behind Tuesday into Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, a bit blustery in downtown Salt Lake City, but a nice 73 degrees. 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Take a second and think about how many different software systems you have in order to manage the people who work for you and, of course, the people you want to work for you. There's the applicant tracking, the new hire onboarding, your paid time off, your payroll, time and attendance, your online employee benefits enrollment, ACA compliance, your COBRA compliance, and the list is not just daunting, but it seems every time you turn around, it's growing. It's time you quit losing sleep over that list and let someone else do it for you. Magellan HCM has the technology and local service team to pull all those systems and services into one place, simplifying the process for everyone and significantly reducing the errors that will always occur when you're managing all those tasks in different systems. There is a better way. Magellan HCM. Text HCM to 57500 and set up a demo of their highly awarded technology and see for yourself what a difference Magellan can make for you and your company. Text HCM to 57500.
Troy, I'm depressed. Bitches RV and American Fork is killing it.
What's depressing about that?
Stewart's RV managers and staff are still here, so we've got the same incredible customer service.
That's good.
And we brought in new RV brands like Ember RV and GoPlay Travel Trailers.
Also good.
And now you can shop hundreds more RVs at bitches.com.
Still waiting for the sad part.
I'm used to being a mentor, but I'm turning into a manatee.
You do have the same shape. Bish's RV is now open in American Fork. Come see us at the previous Stewart's RV or at our North Salt Lake location. Bish's RV, where memories begin.
Getting close to retirement? Or have you retired? You've probably got a ton of stress-filled questions on your mind. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth. Getting a second opinion with an individualized investment plan is vital, and our fiduciary advisors do just that. Take it from this Trajan Wealth client.
It was just so pleasant, so comfortable. I think we had 7 different accounts, just stuff scattered all over the place. And then so we just started, here's this, move this. And he even explained it a couple different times. But if I have more questions, he said, just give us a call. And that's what I love. He's a phone call away. I'm glad I know these guys. Such a huge weight off my shoulder.
Imagine not second-guessing investments or monthly retirement income. That's the peace of mind you'll get from working with Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600 today or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Actual client, no compensation, no conflicts. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time 12:55. There's a new challenge on the horizon for Utah students interested in Wall Street. It's a 10-week simulation of Wall Street investing launched by the Utah Treasury Office. Treasury Office Communications Deputy Brittany Griffin says it's available to all Utah students grades 4 through 12.
It's really great to get the students engaged and thinking about the stock market and thinking about companies and factors that might affect their performance, starting as early as grade 4.
The game is funded by donations, so there's no cost to teachers or schools for their students to participate. Watching Utah's money, a French government watchdog agency has ordered Apple to withdraw the iPhone 12 from the market. The group says the phone emits levels of electromagnetic radiation that are too high. The National Frequency Agency says the phone emits electromagnetic waves capable of being absorbed by the human body. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 115 points. It sits at 34,531. S&P down by 2. The NASDAQ up by 17 points.
You've tried everything from chiropractors to surgery, and your back still feels like, or your neck never stops feeling like. Well, today, learn more about the Uprightly program. The Uprightly program helps control back and neck symptoms without surgery, physical therapy, chiropractic injections, or pills. Visit liveuprightly.com for a revolutionary and comprehensive long-term solution for your back and neck pain. The Uprightly program was developed across 4 decades by a team of medical professionals who made a major medical breakthrough in spine care with over 95% long-term success. Tens of thousands of Uprightly patients have taken control of their own spine health, which is why this program is one of the only spine care options that offers money back to those who are unsatisfied. Enroll today at liveuprightly.com and save 10% by using promo code KSL Radio 10. That's KSL Radio 10. Or visit the world-leading spine experts at the Uprightly Spine Care Center, located at 812 South State Street in Orem.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware, if you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Your one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways, fabulous fall colors, and more. Visit cedarcity.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 13 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Nevada, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, or other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 90 days from a station contest or event are not eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Ricky?
We do have a good drive that continues on the Valley Freeway as a crash in the Syracuse area of Davis County. Highway 193 at 2000 West. And then also congested traffic 33rd South, especially on the eastbound side from 9th West over to State Street due to malfunctioning traffic lights. It's everyone's favorite season. Now's the time, and this is the place for Little Haunts, an autumn adventure coupled with not-so-scary fun. Visit thisistheplace.org for information. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We do have about a 20% chance of showers across the Wasatch Front this afternoon. That's decreasing to 10% for Thursday and Friday. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, partly cloudy skies, 77 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 1 o'clock.